to announce today that DMAC will be investing at least $20 billion over a very short period of time into the United States, and they may go double or even somewhat more than double that amount of money. It's a great thing, and I believe he will say that he's doing it because of the fact that he was very inspired by the election. They wouldn't do it without that election. I can tell you a lot of people wouldn't. You saw last week where we have somebody who's going to go from $100 to $200 billion. And we have many other people, and we'll be bringing some of them out. Some of them like to do it somewhat more quietly, and some don't. And they feel so strongly about the country that they want to let people know about it. But it's an honor to have such a great investor investing in our country. The investment will support massive new data centers across the Midwest, the Sun Belt area, and also to keep America on the cutting edge of technology and artificial intelligence. He's very big into the data centers, and that's going to be a very hot item in the coming years, as you know, with AI. In particular, the first phase of the project will be in Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, Louisiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, and Indiana, those places. And Hussein, I'd love you to come up and say a few words. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's been amazing news for me and my family when he was elected in November. We've been waiting 4 years to increase our investments in U.S. to a very large amount of money. We are a company operating in more than 20 countries around the world. We have delivered more than 45,000 luxury units and another 45,000 in the pipeline. In data center, we are in 10 countries around the world, in Asia, Europe, and Middle East. And we're very, very excited now with his leadership and his open strategy and policy to encourage businesses to come to U.S. For the last 4 years, we've been waiting for this moment. And we're planning to invest $20 billion and even more than that if the opportunity in the market allow us. But at the moment, we're planning $20 billion in data center, catering for the AI and cloud business for the hyperscalers.
Fantastic.
Thank you, Mr.
Great
President.
honor. Thank you very much.
What company is this? They shut it off at the beginning.
And that man knows what
I don't
he's
even know
doing.
what company that was.
He knows. So, Hussein, we're going to work with you and make sure everything goes smoothly. We have powers that haven't really been used in terms of environmental. If you invest over $1 billion in the United States, we're going to give expedited reviews to everybody because everyone's afraid they're going to come in and get caught in the quagmire, which is very prevalent in the United States, unfortunately, the quagmire of environmental and various other regulations and rules. And I made it a point of telling people if you invest $1 billion or more, and we'll do this for people with far less too, but we guarantee it. We're going to move them quickly through the environmental process. Sometimes people held up 12, 13, 14, 15 years. I saw it with plants in Louisiana where I got it approved in literally a week. They were through the review in 1 week after spending 14 and a half years trying to get it, and they were going nowhere. It was a terrible thing. So I've been a victim of that myself over the years, and I think I know all the games and all the tricks that are played, and much of it is just done to stop progress. So we're going to be helping you and everybody else that comes to the United States and wants to invest their money, that you don't get tied up for the rest of your life and you can't do anything.
The rest of your life.
This commitment further underscores that many of the greatest business leaders on earth are seeing a very bright economic future for America since the election. As you know, a lot of positive things have happened. We are inheriting a difficult situation from the outgoing administration, and they're trying everything they can to make it more difficult. Inflation is continuing to rage, and interest rates are far too high. And I've been disappointed to see the Biden administration's attempt to block the reforms of the American people and that they voted for. We had a landslide election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people, millions. and they're still counting in some areas. You know, they're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something thereabouts. There are places where they're still counting votes. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. And we will drill, baby, drill. And we're going to be drilling in a lot of other locations. And the energy costs are going to come way down. They'll be brought down to a very low level. And that's going to bring everything else down. That's what caused it to go up, along with the ridiculous spending on the Green New scam. All this money, trillions of dollars.
Pro Law's in the house. Guess is in the house. What's up, Pro Law and Guess? Actually, I know Pro Law. Pro Law, I'll stop saying hi to you, Pro Law, because I know that you're a lurker. I know that you like to lurk, Pro Law. I know that you like to lurk. So if you're just gambling, I won't say hi. If people like Hassan, Puppy Trailer, Destiny want a world run by Harris types, California has 130,000 acres on fire, forced evacuations, and water and power restrictions statewide right now. Does it really? Wow. Yeah, I like lurkers, Pro Law. I like lurkers. Lurkers are the best. Get them viewer counts going. You know what I mean? You know what it is. No, that's crazy. The water and power restriction. No, I haven't heard about that. Of course, I've been working my tail off all day long today. Oh, wow. Evacuate now. Residents ordered out as Pacific Palisades fire rages. Wow. Life-threatening windstorm in Southern California, fans blazes in LA. Holy cow. ICE out of California, no human is illegal. Dude, these people are really going to go to war with the federal government on that? Wow. Dude, these people are nuts if they're actually going to go to war with the federal government on ICE. Trying to shut down ICE. Blood Ripper, what's up, Blood Ripper? Good to see you. Exactly, Pro. Lorkin intensifies. Grumple, what's up, man? They can't stop the fires? That's bad, guess. That's not good. That's scary. Mr. Rainbow the Unicorn, what's up? Dude, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Rainbow. What a nice message. What have you been doing to work your ass off today? Bro, Mr. Rainbow, I'll actually tell you. You actually want to know, Mr. Rainbow? Okay, I got up this morning like 5:30 a.m. just naturally without an alarm clock. I laid in bed for about a half hour, got up, started showering at 6 a.m. I was in my office by 6:45 a.m. I pretty much worked straight from 6:45 a.m. all the way until 5 p.m. No breaks. I ate a granola bar in the middle of the day. Worked straight from about 6:45 a.m. all the way to about 5 p.m. That's what I did to work my butt off. And then I came home. I came home, and now I'm live on Twitch, clip farming. So I've been working my tail off. I'm extremely sore from working out. Good for you, Mr. Rainbow. I need to work out after the stream tonight. Big time.
10.5 years trying to get it.
I'm the one stalking you on stream, BR24. BR24. That's okay. Love to listen to you filling on the radio for Aaron. We should play CS sometime. Dude, that'd be awesome. I'm totally down to play CS with you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the kind words, man. Then when the federal government is in a weakened state, text just country secedes, Texas secedes. Yeah, I mean, that's what it's like, dude. California really wants to try to fight ICE and fight the federal government on deportations. Like, you may not like what Texas does when there's a Democrat president.
Going nowhere was a terrible thing. So I've been a victim of that myself over the years. And I think I know all the games and all the tricks that are played. And much of it is just done to stop progress. So we're going to be helping you and everybody else that comes to the United States and wants to invest their money, that you don't get tied up for the rest of your life and you can't do anything. This commitment further underscores that many of the greatest business leaders on earth are seeing a very bright economic future for America since the election.
Thank you for the follow. Appreciate that.
A lot of positive things have happened. We are inheriting a difficult situation from the outgoing administration, and they're trying everything they can to make it more difficult. Inflation is continuing to rage, and interest rates are far too high. And I've been disappointed to see the Biden administration.
BR24, plug back in. Yo, Unbeatinger with the follow and the chat. First time ever. Thank you, Unbeatinger. Appreciate it. Welcome. I did 13 sets of 10 push-ups and 20 sit-ups. I shoveled my neighbor's driveway or sidewalk around her car in her path in her mailbox. I swept her stairs because she has heart problems. She can't do it for herself. I had to get myself checked out, and apparently I have something called chronic back pain, which... Wow, Mr. Rainbow. Good for you. What a nice person. Holy cow, Fatormophitis with the tier 1 sub. I remember Joe Biden saying I need nukes and F-15s, and I took that to heart. Right. Wow, thank you, Fatormophitis. 63 months, over 5 years. Over 5 years, a lecture fan sub. That's huge, man. Thank you, Fatormophitis.
Attempt to block the reforms of the American people and that they voted for. We had a landslide
Amen,
election.
Mr. Rainbow.
We won every swing
Amen.
state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people. Millions. And they're still counting in
They're still counting.
some areas. You know, they're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place.
They're still counting the vote. Is that true?
The things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening or something.
I agree with that. I agree with that. We should have election results by 10, 11 o'clock in the evening. Absolutely agree.
They have places where they're still counting votes. President Biden's actions yesterday on offshore drilling, banning offshore drilling, will not stand. I will reverse it immediately. It'll be done immediately. And we will drill, baby, drill. And we're going to be drilling in a lot of other locations. And the energy costs are going to come way down. They'll be brought down to a very low level. And that's going to bring everything else down. That's what...
Oh, nice, Mr. Rainbow. Nice.
Along with the ridiculous spending on the Green New Scam, all this money, trillions of dollars. It's like throwing it right out the window, what they're doing. And they're trying to spend so much now. They're just taking money and giving it to anybody that wants it for any project at all, if it's certified under the Green New Scam. And they don't work.
That's horrible.
Too expensive.
That's horrible.
And
that's criminal.
You know, they told me that we're going to do everything possible to make this transition to the new administration very smooth. It's not smooth because they're doing that. They're playing with the courts, as you know. They've been playing with the courts for 4 years, probably got me more votes because I got the highest number of votes ever gotten by a Republican, by far, actually, by a lot. And, you know, we had a great election, so I guess it didn't work. But even to this day, they're playing with the courts. They have their friendly judges that like to try and make everybody happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. So many. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. And we won those cases. Those were the biggest ones. And the press made such a big deal out of them, but we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong on anything. And the people saw that. You know, when they vote, when a Republican, it's not easy for a Republican. When the Republican wins the popular vote by millions.
Yeah, no, Conservative Irk. What's up, man? Twitch is an absolute cesspit. I agree. I can't believe I'm even on here, which is why I am dual streaming on YouTube. If you'd rather watch me on YouTube, I'm live on YouTube as well. But no, what's crazy about this whole lawfare thing is like it's going on nationally against Donald Trump, but it's also going on locally here in Montana. They've filed ethics charges against our attorney general here because he's a Republican. Lots of other sort of little smaller examples of this stuff that's going on. And frankly, we need judges that would never allow lawfare to happen to either side. You know what I mean? Like if I was a judge, I would say I'm not going to allow lawfare from Democrats against Trump or any Republican. And by the way, I'm also not going to allow lawfare from Republicans against Democrats.
And wins all 7 of the swing states. People said, well,
Boom!
he could win 4.
Numb with
won all
the
7, and we won
primer.
by a lot.
Make Greenland great again. Yeah, I agree, Numb. I agree, Numb. Thank you for the primer, by the way. Yeah, number one news story on Wall Street Journal right now. Trump ratchets up campaign to gain control of Greenland and the Panama Canal. Boom. I fully support it. President-elect threatens to hit Denmark with high tariffs if officials there don't cooperate. Let's go. Whoa, hype train potentially incoming. Whoa, I just noticed that. Potential hype train, 10 seconds. 10 seconds, potential hype train. So this is an article I definitely wanted to read this article.
That tells you we won. That tells, and they've been...
Yeah, neo-appeasers. No, is that what we called him, as neo-isolationist, or did we call him neo-appeasers? Or was it neo-isolationists? Yeah, that was what we were calling him, wasn't it? Like back during the great foreign policy debates of 2022.
Whoever controls the oceans has the power. And here in the high north, a new ocean is being born. I'm wandering through a graveyard of American military equipment on the largest island in the world. Like, what I'm seeing here is just a bunch of American military infrastructure that was set up during World War II, used during the Cold War, and now it's just abandoned. Like this massive dish that was a part of the Cold War defense in the Arctic that the US used, creating a chain of radar so that if the Soviets invaded from the Arctic, they would be able to detect it. And this giant dish is one of those radar boosters.
Dude, that's freaking cool. Whoa! Phantomophitis with 300 bits coming in hot. Wow, restarts the incoming hype train. It's not quite the hype train, but it restarts. Thank you, Phantomophitis. 300 bits is huge, man. That's absolutely massive. Thank you so much. Twitch chat is best. YouTube chat is full of morons. I do think Twitch chat is better. What can I say? Oh, we got a YouTube chatter, actually. Oh, Phantomophitis in chat. Grumple in YouTube chat. Nice, guys. Nice, guys. Remember to slap that like button, nerds. Twitch chat is cancer. Oh, make Greenland great again. Fun fact, we occupied Greenland during World War II and Truman offered to buy it later. Dude, that's crazy. Numb, have you been like researching Greenland or what? Are you like down the Greenland rabbit hole now? Big time or what? Numb, holy cow. But this system of radars is freaking cool, man. Look at that. I love it.
Invaded from the Arctic, they would be able to detect it, and this giant dish is one of those radar boosters. After the Cold War, the US sold this town and all of its buildings back to the Greenlandic government for $1. They didn't need it anymore. That's because the world was at peace. Everything was good, and the Arctic, you know, was just a frozen place that now, with the Soviet Union falling apart, was not strategically that important. But things are changing. I want to show you what this looks like, what it actually looks like on the ground here in Greenland, get you up to speed on everything.
Oh, dude, that's awesome, Numb. Very cool. Okay, right on.
You need to know to understand.
What made me love Trump even more is when they had those open prayer rituals in the stadiums. The love was in. Oh, for sure. Absolutely.
What is certainly going to be one of the most important geopolitical issues for years to come.
Increasing tensions.
Looming war in the Arctic is a massive military buildup.
What happens in the Arctic Circle could have far-reaching implications for us all.
I'm at an airport in rural Greenland. It's like in this fjord system near the village of Umanak. And I'm realizing that I need to let you in on something, which is today's video is sponsored by Storyblocks. I've been using Storyblocks for a decade, long before I was ever a YouTuber. I was just a video maker, and I was using Storyblocks. They used to be called So, oh, and I didn't mention this, but Storyblocks also has After Effects, Premiere, and After. So much easier when you have that link helps support this channel, not surprisingly, but it also is riding on dog sleds, getting to know how ice works. Ice is way more complicated than you can imagine, and the people here know it very well. And filling in my gap of knowledge. It's a gap of knowledge that I think a lot of people have. Like, a lot of people know Greenland for memes about how little is known about Greenland. Or maybe you know it as the island that is always exaggerated in its size by the Mercator map projection. But maybe that's probably just map nerds who think of it that way. But anyway, the fact is this place is not very well known or understood. But I'm telling you, that is about to change.
Honestly, that's how I think of it. I think of it as that huge freaking island that's totally like disjointed and totally like misshown on Mercator projections. That's absolutely how I think of Greenland. I guess I'm a map nerd according to this guy.
Is a giant ocean. For centuries, empires who control the oceans are the ones that had the power, but not up here. This ocean has always been frozen, desolate, and inaccessible to powerful navies in search of power and influence. So the Arctic has remained a geopolitically quiet place. This is one reason why Inuit traditions have been able to stay alive here. Though that's a whole nuanced subject, and I went on a deep dive in another video I made from Greenland. The fact is that things are changing. A new man-made blanket of carbon is now in the air, and it's been trapping more and more heat on our globe and warming it. Just a few degrees, but somehow enough to change everything.
And the thing about this is, it's like, you don't even have to believe in like man-made climate change or global warming to recognize that the climate is, like, conservatives have always said that climate is changing, right? It's just not necessarily man-made. Or if man is contributing, it's like some small percentage, right?
Here's what the ice up here looked like at its lowest point in the 80s. And here's what it looked like at its lowest point last year. Yeah, and this new ocean in the high north is heating 4 times faster than the rest of the planet. And where there are liquid oceans, there will be countries looking to control those oceans. The new shipping routes, the oil and gas, the minerals, and just generally the opportunity to control and influence a new place. So you've got Canada, who's laying claim to the Northwest Passage, saying that this valuable new shipping route cuts right through their territory and should be theirs. You've got Russia with all these military bases dotting their Arctic frontier. They're also claiming all of this ocean, all the way up to the North Pole. They even put a flag on the ocean floor a few years ago. The US is spending over $1 billion to buy and build icebreaker ships to patrol the Arctic. And even the rising superpower China, a non-Arctic nation, is trying to get
Dude, this is so interesting. Oh my gosh, thank you, Num, for sharing this. This was made 1 year before the election, FYI. Right, Num, yeah, no, I noticed that, Num. That's a good point. Let's bring that up, because that is really important for understanding this video. This is a year ago. This is a year ago video, and so that makes it even sort of more interesting, because it's like this video was made before this whole Greenland thing went viral. So this is like genuinely true stuff, and this is wild. Like, we've all heard about this, you know? Like, we've all heard about, oh yeah, the Arctic is this new interesting like competing ground. But wow, to actually see the map like this and to see what Russia's trying to do and stuff. Like, luckily, Russia's a joke. Otherwise, I'd be freaking concerned about this.
On the influence up here, working with their ally Russia to create an ice Silk Road, investing $10 billion in projects across the Nordic region. So yeah, lots of
oh wow, Jason's videos in the house. What up, Jason?
Surface on a few highlights here, but the fact is the Arctic is getting a lot of attention, and one major focus is here in Greenland, a place that has been pretty ignored by great powers. Until that is, there's something they need, or there's something to gain, which is exactly what's becoming the case as the ice melts and this new ocean appears. Are you a global superpower looking to project influence in the newly opening Arctic? Look no further than Greenland, the gateway to the Arctic Ocean. Most of Greenland, this massive island, is located conveniently within the Arctic Circle. This is why it was the chosen jumping-off point for Arctic explorers who were trying to be the first to reach the North Pole in the early 1900s. In fact, the US recognized that this massive island was a smart geopolitical location a long time ago, convincing Greenland's colonizers to help them evict an Inuit community so that they could put an airbase up here. The top of the world turned out to be a perfect location to traverse their growing empire and to spy on the Soviets during the Cold War. They even had nuclear weapons up here for a time. And it wasn't just one base. Over the course of the 20th century, the US set up a handful of military bases in Greenland. They used this island to put up these massive radar systems, which would serve as early warning in case a Soviet invasion came from the north. And now it just...
Dude, so this basically makes it sound like Greenland is America's and has been for a long, long time.
looks like a full-blown prop from a Star Wars movie. I mean, look at these. So Greenland's strategic potential was clear, but once the Soviet threat went away...
Dude, this is crazy. So the United States has literally had military bases and military operations on Greenland for centuries? Bro, Greenland is the United States's. Let's go.
The U.S. mostly abandoned its presence here, though they still have that base way up north, and they've turned it actually into the base of their Space Force. But they eventually closed down their embassy in the capital, and Greenland went back to being nothing really useful to the great powers. Just a frozen island at the doorstep of a frozen ocean. So Greenland, this massive Arctic island at the gateway to the Arctic Ocean, is now becoming much more important. That's because this ocean that's always been frozen is melting more and more every year, opening it up to new trade routes, to new resources, to new versions of influence.
Guy Wilson.
Exerted at the top of
Where has the U.S. not? Good point, Guy Wilson.
planet.
Mariana Trench, yeah.
So great powers are once again paying attention to this place. Because great powers no longer see a desolate frozen island. They see opportunity. They see an island perfectly located close to new enticing shipping lanes. They see an island with territorial waters full of new resources, whose territorial claims theoretically extend all the way past the North Pole, incidentally overlapping with Russia and Canada. They see the potential of this place being a repository of rare earth elements, the stuff we need to build modern electronics like cell phones, computer hard drives, and electric vehicles. Suddenly, this place is becoming a lot more valuable in the eyes of people who want power. A fact that was highlighted by a guy who spent his life sniffing out real estate deals on land that was about to become valuable.
Trump wants to buy Greenland.
It's a large real estate deal. So the concept came up, and I said, certainly I'd be strategically, it's interesting.
Yeah, that actually happened. Boy, that was a crazy 4 years. I'm glad it's over.
Wow. That's hilarious. Anyway, yeah, this guy had no idea that Trump was coming back, baby.
Point is that Greenland is now getting loads of attention and becoming much more valuable. Which brings me here to perhaps the clearest symbol of this renewed interest in Greenland. This is the new U.S. consulate in Nuuk. After saying they planned to buy the country, the Trump administration backed down after Denmark was like, hell no, get out of here, and instead took a different approach. They ramped up efforts to build relations between Greenland and the United States, building mutual economic interests, which resulted in the opening of this consulate just in 2020. The U.S. now has a diplomatic presence, a physical presence in Greenland, this big frozen island that no global superpower really thought was that important until recently.
I'm pleased to announce we will reopen our consulate in Nuuk, Greenland this summer for the first time since 1953.
So this actually reminds me of a story I did a while back when I was up in the Arctic for Vox Borders, and I was visiting a Russian consulate on this little island. And it truly never ceases to surprise me that in an era of like sophisticated alliances and like international institutions and like sophisticated military weaponry, we still resort to just putting...
Hey, what's up?
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today. So this call isn't for me. I have a buddy that's very financially illiterate, and they've made some very poor financial decisions over the last few years. And I guess to start with, I guess where to begin is they have right now currently $37,837 of debt. Their minimum monthly payments for those debts is $1,743. Their gross monthly income approximately is around $100K a year, plus or minus a couple thousand. They have a mortgage right now. They're behind 1 month on their mortgage. So they're currently at $1,500 a month that's what they're behind. Normally it's $1,250. With all their basic household bills, they're looking at around, I think, $4,000 a month or $4,500 a month. So my thing for them is they have 2 kids they've recently had over the last 2 years, and they find a struggle to be motivated to go to their job. Well, they go to work, but they allow overtime, and he could work more than he is now. But I guess the problem with them is they're just kind of stuck in this hole. They're at about negative $700 a month. So do you have any advice for them? I know right now they're doing 8% on their 401ks because the company matches 8. I'm just trying to help them out if any way I can. I figured you'd be the first person to call, but I recommended maybe.
You're very sweet. I don't know if you can help them because I don't think they're going to do it.
No, I agree. I know, I agree. But
so I'm going to give you I'm going to burn a few calories and try to help them because you're a good guy. But I think you're probably wasting your dadgum time.
Okay? I understand, and it's worth it for me to try.
Well, I mean, yeah, a little bit, but it's not worth it for you to care more than they do about their own life. So
no, I understand.
That's a boundary you need to set. You need to walk and give us a little drive-by. If they pick up a couple of pieces of information and run with it, then you can help them a little more. But if they sit back and go, well, I just don't feel like working. I'm sorry, that one right there just kills me. Okay, I'm broke. I have 2 little kids. I can't make my bills, but I really don't want to miss Yellowstone on the dadgum television. I got to be home. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Get up off your butt.
It's 12-hour shifts, so I kind of understand.
Oh, you're killing me here.
I know.
Call the ambulance. All right, so here's the deal.
Okay.
All right, here's the deal. Stop the 401ks, get on a written budget, stay out of the restaurant, take all the overtime you can, and sell the expensive car that's in these numbers somewhere.
Yeah, so they have 2 car loans. One is at $7,000, the other's at $15,000.
Ta-da.
Then, yeah.
Almost like I've done this before. Yeah. Sell the expensive car, stop the 401ks, get on a detailed budget, pick up all the overtime you can pick up. There's nothing wrong with any numbers here. Oh, and before you start paying any extra on your debt, buy food, pay the light bill, and pay the stinking house payment. How in the world you're not paying your house payment of $1,500 when you make $100,000 a year? These people are mentally lazy too.
Yeah, it's tough to hear because me and my wife are pretty. We're comfortable, and it's hard to hear. And they make honestly more than us.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and we live in San Diego.
Their house is not their problem, but dude, you don't get behind on your house payment when you make $100K and you have 2 little babies.
Oh my gosh! Sorry guys. Had to do important discussions there with real life people. Sorry about that. Should I finish this video for you guys, or should we go back to this? Actually, I really want to watch this Trump press conference from today and read this article. But about Trump is ratcheting up the Greenland thing right now. That's the primary article right now on Wall Street Journal. President-elect Trump declined to rule out using military to gain control of Greenland and the Panama Canal, ratcheting up his campaign to expand America's global footprint. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something, Trump said during a news conference on Tuesday, which is this news conference that we're watching right here that I wanted to watch. But then Num shared this video that's really, really good, that was posted 1 year ago, explaining all this Greenland importance. And so that's where we're at.
Human bodies and buildings in places that we want to have influence in. Like it's a board game. Some things will never
Oh,
change.
can you not do video reactions on YouTube, Grumple, or what?
But as the U.S. looks to deepen its ties with
Or
Greenland,
you're saying, Grumple, like if I'm not reacting to it or what? Like I was just there when I was talking to my wife and I played a video. That's more the problem, you're saying? Oh, okay. Yeah.
and so is another power, another global superpower.
You know what I should do is just get my own lecture fan videos up. Right, I need to be reacting to it and commenting on it. What I should do though is when I need to take a break is play my own lecture fan videos, because I've got lots of lecture fan videos that I could play. You know, then my stream wouldn't be dead. You know? That's okay. Right? I can play my own videos that I posted on YouTube, right? I can play those on my Twitch stream and my YouTube stream, can I not? Hello? Mr. Experts in Chat, Grumple and Prolaw? Just mess with you guys.
One that, incidentally, is nowhere near the Arctic. But who knows that if they want to be the top dog on the world stage, they're going to need a foothold in this new region.
A race for
Wow, I've got some third-party strike on YouTube where I couldn't even figure out what it was. Wow, that sucks. Inbox for you, copyright yourself. Right. Yeah, play your own highlights 100% if you're live on YouTube. Oh, okay, yeah.
resources could lead to a boil over.
A lot of focus is placed on the Chinese. They do control a significant amount of supply.
We are so adamant that these areas of the world that are the arteries of trade and shipping remain peaceful.
There is a worry of this Chinese possible infiltration in the country.
In 2017, Greenland
Of course China is infiltrating. China's infiltrating every country. They're evil commies.
Build more airports like the one behind me that they're building. Here in Greenland, they don't have a lot of infrastructure for big airplanes, so you can't get like big commercial flights in and out of large amounts of the country. You have to fly around in small planes and helicopters, which is kind of cool if you're like going on an adventure. But if you're trying to develop your country, you need bigger airports. The problem is building airports is expensive, and no one wanted to fund this except for China. The Prime Minister of Greenland went to Beijing, their friend, and said, hey,
yeah, because China's got all that American money because we're sending it all over there.
Want to help us fund our new airports? China was like, yes, we will give you a loan to fund the airports, but it has to be a Chinese construction company that builds the airports. And Greenland was like, okay, let's do it. That sounds great. And immediately over in the United States, alarm bells start going off. This is not good. The context here is that China has a habit of giving loans to countries that they want to
this is bad.
Like have influence in the future. They do this a lot in Africa. Like they give loans knowing that they now have leverage over all of these countries who now owe them money. Anyway, so the United States sees this potential deal happening between Greenland and China and hates it. Greenland, this place that is so strategically located, that is right next to the United States, that is really a huge part of the future of global influence.
The United States should have, if this obviously happened under Biden, like this would have never happened under Trump, obviously. Like, what's crazy, here's a thought that I was having, guys. Like, what's so crazy about the United States is how completely opposite the United States foreign policy can go from one president to the next. Like, what Biden was doing and how Biden was acting compared to, like, with Trump in office, it truly is shocking just how different they are and how opposite they are, and that can actually be a thing. And, you know, it's like, no other country around the world has this situation where you have these wild swings back and forth from one president to the next with respect to what the United States really is. You know, it really is just truly wild. It's just the change in power and policy and everything else, and the changes that it'll have on the world is truly just, it's hard to even comprehend how big of an impact this presidential change is going to be. You know what I mean?
Influence in the Arctic, suddenly in debt to China? No. In fact, the Pentagon freaked out and was like, what if Greenland defaults on their payments to China and China seizes the airports and starts using it for their military?
Of course they're
a little bit
going
of
to
an
do
alarmist, like doomsday scenario. but it's true.
What? So this guy says your alarm is doomsday if you're concerned about the Chinese Communist Party giving loans to build airports on Greenland? Is this guy an idiot? This guy's obviously a Democrat. I can't believe you sent me this Democrat video, Num.
True. Like when you owe someone money, they have leverage over you. The U.S. did not like this. So the U.S. goes to Denmark and tells them to kill the deal. Denmark does it. They agree. And suddenly Denmark is now funding 2/3 of these airport projects.
China got rejected on these airport deals thanks to U.S. pressure. But they didn't give up. They started setting their sights on those rare earth minerals that we talked about earlier, the vital ingredients for your phone, your computer, and your electric car. China holds a near monopoly on mining and processing these minerals. So they see Greenland as an opportunity to continue that near monopoly, but also an opportunity.
Dude, screw Denmark. Screw Denmark. Who do they think they are trying to have control over land in America? Like, this is some old, like, colonial thing. How could any Democrat or leftist defend Denmark colonialism in the Americas like this? It's like, no, the people of the people of Greenland should make their decisions, not some European colonialists.
To access the Arctic, another place where they can compete with Western interests. It started when this Chinese corporation made a deal to fund a zinc and lead mine in the far north of Greenland. It was all going to plan until the Australian owners of this mine suddenly decided to end their deal. Oh, and shortly thereafter, they got a $650 million check from the United States to fund the project. Once again, the US blocked their rival from getting a foothold in the Arctic. Another Chinese company has had their mining licenses revoked entirely by the government of Greenland. So between this diplomatic pressure, as well as some local anti-mining political sentiment, China has been blocked time and time again from getting its foothold on this island.
China's words and actions raise doubts about its intentions. Beijing claims to be a near Arctic state, yet the shortest distance between China and the Arctic is 900 miles.
So yeah, the USA has made its stance very clear that they don't want China, a non-Arctic nation, to be meddling in this region, to be gaining a foothold in the gateway to the Arctic, this region that is opening up, that is becoming really important. And in addition to blocking China's efforts, the US has also stepped up their own efforts to get more US influence and presence in this place, to prepare for the future of geopolitical conflict.
The US is doing investments on its own, investing billions of dollars in military infrastructure in this region, including a $4 billion upgrade of that air and space installation in the north. They're also committing to military training exercise within the Arctic. The US Army has been sending their soldiers to train in Arctic-like conditions to mimic what conflict might look and feel like.
This is all good news. Like, I'm glad that the US is doing all this stuff.
High north. The U.S. government is offering millions of dollars in aid directly to Greenland.
Good Harris is an idiot when it comes to politics, but he has some good videos that are not political. Oh, I'm sure these are very good. This is a very high quality video. Obviously, he's good at making. In fact, I'll even subscribe to him. I was joking about the fact that, I mean, he's obviously a Democrat. He's obviously a left winger, but no, this is a high quality video. I like it.
To help them.
See, as a conservative, I'm not like some prejudiced like bigot like most Democrat leftists are that would never say a nice thing about a conservative that made a video like this.
Mining and tourism sectors.
So yeah, once again, we see the struggle for influence playing out between great powers in all of these kind of hard to see battlefields.
That's terrible, guitar player.
Loans, infrastructure, blocking trade deals, diplomatic pressure, military presence. This is kind of the flavor of modern conflict. I mean, not the Russian flavor of modern conflict, but like the great powers conflict plays out in these other ways, these hard to see ways, these bureaucratic, systematic ways.
But who cares about these big superpowers and what they want for Greenland? I came to the capital Nuuk to talk to my friend Kupanuk about what Greenlanders actually want. After all, this is their island. They should decide how it's used and by whom.
So we are not just looking at the Western world through Denmark anymore, but we'll see more globally. So we're starting to realize more and more how lucky we actually are.
That's super interesting. It turns out that about half of Greenlanders actually think it's a good thing that China is increasing in its power and influence around the globe. But when you ask them specifically about China investing in Greenland, they're more hesitant, with nearly 70% saying that they oppose foreign investment from China.
Good.
But a country like Greenland,
Good. That means 70% of them are smart.
Such a fraught history with colonizers, also has reservations about Western interests here too.
And a lot of injustices have been and are still being done in colonial and decolonial nations. More and more things are just being shown now because people are more aware of their rights and more aware of the rights that are being violated.
So Greenlanders are waking up to their power in this situation, waking up to the leverage that they have in this new global competition. And while they might have their concerns about China and the West, they're looking for the best deal for their country.
The first ones must be our closest friends and like-minded nations. And then if other countries want to invest in Greenland and in our way, we are open for business.
So as we move into this new era of great power competition, the map is changing in unexpected ways. Add to that the—
Wow, fantastic video. Super interesting. I think if the Greenlanders are smart about this, and if the Greenlanders make the right decision to do what's in their best interest, they'll side with the United States instead of China and Russia. Weekly 40 to 80 million in cash hand delivered to the Taliban. How is he not like being impeached over that? I think he should be impeached and removed. Like, how is that? That's just like Donald Trump is going to put an end to that on day one, I assume, correct? Darius Morb in the house. What up, Darius Morb? Plus 80 billion worth of equipment to the Taliban. Like, it's a hard time comprehending how evil or incompetent or both what's gone on here. It's just literally giving money to radical extremist terrorists in the Taliban. Like, what? I mean, how?
Happy on the Democrat side. It's called lawfare. It's called weaponization of justice, and it's happened at a level nobody's ever seen before. So many. I defeated deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged individual. I guess he's on his way back to The Hague. And we won those cases. Those were the biggest ones. And the press made such a big deal out of them, but we did nothing wrong. We did nothing wrong on anything. And the people saw that. You know, when they vote when a Republican, it's not easy for a Republican. When the Republican wins the popular vote by millions and wins all 7 of the swing states, people said, well, he could win 4. We won all 7, and we won them by a lot. That tells you we won. That tells, and they've been watching this injustice. I call it the Injustice Department. What they've done is so bad. The whole world has watched that. And it took work, but it got me a lot of votes because when explained, I mean, we have a judge in New York who's a very crooked judge. I'm under a gag order. I can't even talk about aspects of the case that are the most vital aspects. I'm under a gag. Do you know that I'm the president-elect of the United States of America? I'm a former very successful president. We had the greatest economy in the history of our country. We had borders that were sealed and beautiful. Everything was good. We had no wars. We defeated ISIS. We had no wars. Now I'm going into a world that's burning with Russia and Ukraine, with Israel. You took a look at that attack on October 7th, the attack on Israel, with the horrible way they got out. Not the fact that they got out. I would have been out before them, but we would have been out of Afghanistan with dignity and strength as opposed to looking like a bunch of fools with 13 dead and many, many badly, horrifically injured. Nobody ever talks about them. No arms, no legs. Nobody ever talks about them. The way they got out was outrageous, leaving billions of dollars of brand new military equipment that I bought in the hands of the Afghans and specifically the Taliban. It's the group. And we were doing very well. We would have been out. We would have been respected. I think it's one of the reasons it was so badly handled, that withdrawal, where people are jumping onto airplanes, falling off the sides of airplanes when they're 3,000 feet in the air. And nobody's ever seen anything like that, the worst. And because of that, I think Russia went and attacked Ukraine. When they saw that, they said, these guys are incompetent. They don't know what they're doing. But we know what we're doing now. And that's going to all end. And we have a great military. I defeated ISIS, as you know. We're in no wars. I just finished a couple. And we got also our soldiers guarding Syria and Turkey. We're in the middle. We had 5,000 soldiers. They would have been gobbled up with two armies. We had one army, 300,000. We had another one, 500,000 or 600,000, getting ready. We had 5,000 people in the middle. I said to a general, how do 5,000 people do in that case? And the general just looked at me and said, not well, sir, not well. And I took him out. And you know what happened? Nothing. I got criticized. I saved 5,000 lives, actually. And we did a great job, and we're going to do an even better job because now we have a tremendous amount of experience. We have people that I can rely on. But the 625 million acres, people can't realize, it's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's like, feels like the whole ocean. And that's our strength, you know. People can say we manufacture, we don't manufacture. The thing we have oil and gas more than anybody in the world. And we're going to have more of it, too. But they took away 625 million acres of offshore drilling. Nobody else does that. And they think they have it, but we'll put it back. I'm going to put it back on day one. I'm going to have it revoked on day one. We'll go immediately if we need to. I don't think we should have to go to the courts. But if we do have to go to the courts, you know, they try to be sneaky. They go in and they sign. Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you. Because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong. If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have against the Justice Department. I mean, Jack Smith had cases all over the place. People were being subpoenaed, lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was all to influence the election. It was all a fight against a political opponent. We've never had that in this country. We have had that in certain countries. We've had that in third-tier countries. We've had that in banana republics, but we've never had that in a place like the United States. I don't even know if it's been on a small level. I'm sure it has been on a small level, but this was the largest level ever. They brought this moron out of The Hague. He's a mean guy. He's a mean, nasty guy.
Wow, Trump is just going off. Sorry there, I had to take a word. Trump is just letting it rip. I love all of this stuff he's saying. Like, I just can't wait for him to get into office and open up all of that land back for drilling and undo all of that stuff Biden did. Like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. Trump is spot on here. I could listen to this over and over and over again. In fact, I kind of want to rewind it right now and frankly just listen to it again.
His picture was perfect because you look at his picture, you say, that's a bad guy with his robe, his purple robe. And he executes people. He shouldn't be allowed to execute people because he'll execute everybody. He's a nut job. But we won all of those cases with him. And, I mean, I don't know the judge in Florida, but we had a brilliant judge in Florida that saw right through it. And we won the case. She was a brilliant judge with great courage. You know, the left, as we call them, the radical left, they have a way, they play the ref, and they play it very hard. They play the ref. They go and say horrible things about judges and prosecutors, And some judges and prosecutors say, look, the only way I'm going to get these people off my back is to give the
Dude,
kids.
I was thinking the same thing, Guy Wilson. It's like, dude, where is Trump's hairstylist, or why is has Trump just given up on keeping the hair tight? Because now he's got the 4 years and he doesn't need to reelect.
To them, they're playing the ref. I think it's illegal what they do. It's almost like talking. It's worse than talking to a judge. But the
Oh, you know what I was going to do? There was a couple of good clips there I wanted to throw up on YouTube. Give me a second here. Let me work on this for just...
nasty guy.
Wow, Trump is just going off. Sorry there, I had to take a look. Trump is just letting it rip. I love all of this stuff he's saying. Like, I just can't wait for him to get into office and open up all of that. Oh, wow. I still have this as my... Hold on. Whoops. I still have... Oh, my gosh. I gotta... This is why I don't do Twitch titles every day. Conservative lawyer talking politics. I just... And then I forget to do it the next day, and then I've got an out-of-date title like this one. It's a hard time comprehending how evil or incompetent or both what's gone on here. It's just literally giving money to radical United States inadvertently funding the Taliban. Americans are funding the Taliban because tax dollars sent abroad as foreign aid is ending up in the hands of the Islamic terror group, a Republican congressman said. Representative Tim Burchett, who serves Tennessee's 2nd Congressional District, did not provide any direct evidence for his claims, which appeared in an open letter to President-elect Donald Trump dated January 2nd. My gosh, dude. That's terrible. That's terrible.
The map is changing in unexpected ways. Add to that the...
Wow, fantastic video. Super interesting. I think if the Greenlanders are smart about this and where was these clips that were decent?
That's super interesting. It turns out that about half of Greenlanders actually think it's a good thing that China is increasing in its power and influence around the globe. But when you ask them specifically about China investing in Greenland, they're more hesitant, with nearly 70% saying that they oppose foreign...
Well, it was not the clip either. How many clips ago was this that I thought that I had a decent one? The frick? In fact, I'll even subscribe to him. I was joking about the fact that, I mean, he's obviously a Democrat. He's obviously a left-winger. But, no, this is a high-quality video. I like it. See, as a conservative, I'm not like some prejudiced, like, bigot. All right, one. I think it's got to be. Who do they think they are? Here it is. To have control over land in America. Like, this is some old, like, colonial thing. How could any Democrat or leftist defend Denmark colonialism in the Americas like this? It's like, no, the people of the people of Greenland should make their decisions, not some European colonialists. Yes, that was the one I was looking for. That was the one I was looking for. Boom, boom, boom. Maybe the one right before that too.
Uses the airports and starts using it for their military.
Of course,
a little bit of an alarmist, like doomsday scenario, but
it's true. What? So this guy says your alarm is doomsday if you're concerned about the Chinese Communist Party giving loans to build airports on Greenland? Is this guy an idiot? This guy's obviously a Democrat. I can't believe you sent me this Oh man, that is hilarious. All right.
Judge in Florida, Judge Cannon, was brilliant and tough, and she didn't stand for it. And I don't know her. And never met her until the case, and I don't believe I said even one word to her. but she was very, very strong and very, very brilliant. And her opinion was so brilliant that they dropped their appeal. They couldn't beat the appeal. So that's what we're up against. So they say we're going to have a smooth transition. All they do is talk. It's all talk. Everything they do is talk. We're going to have a smooth transition. And then they take 625 million acres and they essentially landmark it so you can't ever drill there again. Well, we're going to be drilling soon. We're going to be opening up Anwar. We're going to be doing all sorts of things that nobody ever thought was even possible. But remember and just to get off the subject, because I couldn't believe it when I heard it yesterday. I couldn't believe the size of it. I mean, you put down a map and put this up. It's just massive. And remember that that's worth probably, I mean, I've had estimates, $40 to $50 trillion. That's more than our national debt. Essentially, he's thrown it away. He's thrown it away. He's taken $50 trillion. So if we owe $35 trillion, he's taken $50 trillion of value and thrown it right out the window. We can't do that. Nobody can do that. One other thing he did yesterday, which was in many ways worse. It's hard to believe it can be worse. He wants all gas heaters out of your homes and apartments. He wants them to be replaced by essentially electric heaters. I don't know what it is with electric. This guy loves electric. We're going to be ending the electric car mandate quickly, by the way. This guy loves electric. And we don't have enough electricity. And then we have AI where we need more. And he wants everybody to have an electric heater instead of a gas heater. Gas heater is much less expensive. The heat is much better. It's a much better heat. As the expression goes, you don't itch. Does anybody have a heater where you go and you're scratching? And that's what they want you to have. They don't want you to have gas where you don't have the problems of the electric. And the source is plentiful. They're much cheaper to operate. They're much better. They work much better. They look much better. 60% of homes and apartments have gas heaters. He wants them all removed quickly. These people are crazy. There's something wrong with them. There's something wrong with them. They also want to go back, and they have already started that, to when you buy a faucet, no water comes out because they want to preserve. Even in areas that have so much water, you don't know what to do. It's called rain. Comes down from heaven. And they want to do, no water comes out of the shower. It goes drip, drip, drip. So what happens? You're in the shower 10 times as long, you know. No water comes out of the faucet. You want to wash your hands. They want to go back to even stronger than what they have right now. As you know, I ended that policy. You can have all the water you want. Makes no difference. It comes weird, especially in certain areas. We have so much water, we don't know what to do with it. But these are all things. They want very, very little water to go into your dishwasher, almost none. And you know what people do? They just keep pressing, 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 keep it going. They end up using more water. Likewise, washing machines. They want in your washing machine to have very little water coming out of the washing machine. So when you wash your clothing, you have to wash it 4 times instead of once. You end up using more water. We're a party of common sense, and things that I'm telling you now is really all about common sense. On January 20th, we'll turn the
trying practicing law over here. Jeez.
Economy around very quickly, because right now when I think of our economy, I think about inflation. That's what we have. We have inflation, I believe, at a level that we never had before. There's never been anything like it. And over the next 4 years, the United States is going to take off like a rocket ship. But really, it's already doing it. If you take a look, just last month, SoftBank announced the $200 billion. I think it'll be 200. He said between 100, and I said, how about making it 200? And he sort of said yes, but let's say it's 100, but it might be 200, right, Brian? Dollars, United States, creating more than 100,000 jobs. Hussein just announced a tremendous investment that he's going to make, and that's money that's in the bank. He's going to come and do it, and he'll do a great job, and he'll build the best centers in the country, I guarantee, because I know the way he builds. Since my election, the stock market has set records. The S&P 500 index has broken above 6,000 points for the first time ever, never even close. In a single month, small business optimism soared 41 points. It's not a 41. It went up 41 points. and that's the largest in the 39-year history of the group that does it. According to Gallup, the American people's confidence in the economy has just surged to the highest level in history. That's why I have a news conference like that. I take the greatest business leaders in the world. I say, hey, do you want to say you're going to invest the money? They're not looking for news conferences. They're saying, what am I doing here? They go in and they invest money. But it's good to know where the smartest business people in the world are investing, and they're investing in the United States. So we've done this all in 2 months of not being there. You know, we haven't been there. And it's pretty amazing, and we think we're going to do some really great things, really great things. We're being respected again all over the world. The Panama Canal is a disgrace, what took place at the Panama Canal.
Yep.
And Jimmy Carter gave it to them for $1.
Yep.
And they were supposed to treat us well. I thought it was a terrible thing to do. You know, it's the most expensive structure ever built in the history of our country, relatively. It would be the equivalent of substantially over $1 trillion today. We lost 38,000 people. Think of it, 38,000 people, they died from malaria, mosquitoes. They were unable to stop the mosquitoes. They paid people 5 times more to take the job. Many of those people died. We gave it away for $1.
Wow, Pro-Law, you're almost a millionaire, Pro-Law. You're almost a millionaire.
But the deal was that, you know, they have to treat us fairly. They don't treat us fairly. They charge more for our ships than they charge for ships of other countries. They charge more for our Navy than they charge for navies of other countries. They laugh at us because they think we're stupid, but we're not stupid anymore. So the Panama Canal is under discussion with them right now. They violated every aspect of the agreement, and it's...
This is so amazing. Good. It's so wonderful to have an American president saying stuff like this again. Oh, it's so awesome. Yeah, take the Panama Canal back.
Morally violated it also. And they want our help because it's leaking and not in good repair. And they want us to give $3 billion to help fix it. I said, well, why don't you get the money from China? Because China's basically taken it over. China's at both ends of the Panama Canal. China's running the Panama Canal. And they come to see this Biden, this guy who should never have been
That's terrible.
allowed even to run for president. Of course, she shouldn't have either, because that never happened. I had to be 2 people, not 1. But they want $3 billion to fix the Panama Canal that's run by China and makes a lot of money, China. One of the most profitable structures ever built, because you have ships lined up back to Florida, frankly, and they just keep going through, and the numbers are staggering, $500,000 to $1 million a ship. And they took it away from us, meaning we gave it to them for $1. But not going to happen. What they've done to us, they've charged us, they've overcharged our ships, overcharged our Navy. And then when they need
honestly, why the hell did Jimmy Carter give them the Panama Canal? That is unbelievable. How is he not in prison for treason for that?
Money, they come to the United States to put it up. We get nothing. Those days are over. Working with the Republican majorities in Congress, will cut taxes, slash regulations, raise wages, and boost incomes at a pace the world has not seen before, and certainly not from our country. We had a big chunk of it for the first 3 years prior to COVID coming in my administration. We had the greatest economy in history. We cut the most regulations in the history of our country, and I did that all in 4 years. By 4 times more than any other president cut. We did that in 4 years. And we were just getting started. We'll impose new tariffs so that the products on our stores will once again be stamped with those beautiful words, made in the USA. And we are not treated well, as you know, by Canada. Canada is subsidized to the tune of about $200 billion a year, plus other things. They don't essentially have a military. They have a very small military. They rely on our military. It's all fine, but, you know, they got to pay for that. It's very unfair. I have so many great friends. One of them is the great one, Wayne Gretzky. I said, run for prime minister. You'll win it'll take 2 seconds. But He said, well, am I going to run for prime minister or governor? You tell me. I said, I don't know. Let's make it governor. I like it better. But no, something's going to have to be done. Same thing with Mexico. We have a massive deficit with Mexico, and we help Mexico a lot. They're essentially run by the cartels, and can't let that happen. Mexico's really in trouble.
How?
A lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change because we do most of the work there, and it's ours. We're going to be changing.
Give me just a few seconds here, guys, to eat, and then I'll be right back.
You're
But
sort of
just
the opposite
give me
of
a second
Biden,
here.
where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too. And the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers. So we're going to make up for that by putting tariffs on Mexico and Canada, substantial tariffs. And we want to get along with everybody, but you know, they have to. It takes two to tango. We're approaching the dawn of America's golden age. It's going to be a golden age for America. We have things that nobody else has. We have more natural resources. We have, number one, nobody knew that until I came along. I made us number one. We're number three. I made us number one in a very short period of time in drilling. And you know, you can talk about windmills. They litter our country. They're littered all over our country, like dropping paper, like dropping garbage in a field. And that's what happens to them, because in a period of time, they turn to garbage. Most expensive energy ever. They only work if you get subsidy. The only people that want them are the people that are getting rich off windmills, getting massive subsidies from the U.S. government. And it's the most expensive energy there is. It's many, many times more expensive than clean natural gas. So we're going to try and have a policy where no windmills are being built. You know, off the coast of New Jersey, they want to build like 200 windmills. The people are going crazy. Nobody wants them, and they're very expensive. They don't work without subsidy. You don't want energy that needs subsidy. Energy is a good business. You don't need subsidy. But when you build these massive towers, and they're 25 stories tall, 40 stories. They have 170 stories tall. The blades, they take 3 ships to ship them. It's crazy. They're dangerous. You see what's happening up in the Massachusetts area with the whales, where they had 2 whales wash ashore in, I think, a 17-year period. And now they had 14 this season. The windmills are driving the whales crazy, obviously. And they had actually over, I think, 125 or something over a number of years. And we don't want that to happen. It's a disaster. It's amazing the way a true environmentalist
Mushroom
would say,
soup,
oh,
what
we
up?
love wind. It sounds good, but that's about where it ends. You know, after 10 years, you have to redo them.
Not really, Mushroom,
What
nope.
happens is they don't do that. They let them stand and they rust, and they say, because of the environment, I'm not a believer in this, but they say you can't, because it's a certain fiberglass, that the blades cannot be buried in earth, that's an environment. So what do you do with them? What do you do with them? And I don't know if you've ever gone to Palm Springs, California, or any of these places where you have long-term windmills standing. They're a disaster. They're rusting, rotting, closed, falling down. This is as you enter Palm Springs. And they put new ones next to them because nobody wants to take them down, because why should they take them down? It's very expensive to take them down. And you can't do anything with them because the blades, you can't bury them because of the environmental protection. We'll look at that. Doesn't make sense, but that's what they say. So we are at the beginning of a great, beautiful golden age of business. And I think we're also at a golden age of common sense, because everything I'm saying to you...
Pro whales. This is now a pro whale stream. Pro whale, pro whales, pro horses. Conservative lawyer talking politics. We are now a pro whale. This is now a pro whale stream. All right, you're only welcome to be a viewer here if you're pro whale now.
From a simple water faucet that doesn't allow water to come out appropriately to all of the other elements of what we do and what we're going to do, to take $50 to $60 trillion off our country's balance sheet because some man that has no idea what he's doing, has no idea. You know it, I know it, the Democrats know it. What they did is a crime by allowing that to happen. And I'll bet you, if you asked him today, how much acreage did you submit? Essentially, did you destroy? You destroyed the economic viability of drilling in the ocean. And with AI coming along and all, you know, a lot of people don't realize that AI is going to be a big thing, but you'll need double the electricity at least that we have right now. So right now we produce electricity for many, many different things. AI is a very big deal in terms of the future.
True.
China is already building electric facilities.
Thank you, guys. Thank you,
Numb
electric
Ethos. Facilities. And you know how they're being fired up? With coal. They're being fired up with coal. And we're going to build bigger and better ones. People like Hussein that are doing the same thing as he is. I'll bet they don't do it as well because I know how he does it, but they're doing a lot of things. The problem is they can't get their permits because I say build the plant with the building. So with the structure, build the plant, because if you go into grid, the grids are old. So they said, that's a great idea. In other words, build your electric facility alongside of your plant. And you could have extra output if you want, because once you build it, you can make it larger pretty inexpensively. You could have extra output, which you'll sell to the public, but build it with the plant, and people are loving that idea. So we're going to have a lot of fun making America great again, and it's going to happen, I think, very, very quickly. It's already happened. So I would say this, and this has been pretty openly reported by the news. There's never been anything like what's happened in the list since we won the election. Couple of months since we won the election, the whole perception of the whole world is different. People from other countries have called me. They said, thank you. Thank you. The perception of the whole world is different.
Amen, BR 24, amen.
That are going on right now. We're going to have to settle up with Russia, Ukraine. That's a disaster. I look at numbers every week, the number of people being killed in that war. People don't know, mostly soldiers now. But the towns have been obliterated. This was a Biden fiasco that he got as that should have never happened. If we had a real president, if we had a president that knew what he was doing, Russia would have never, ever gone in. But they did go in, and we have a mess. The cities are all blown up. The people have largely left. And the soldiers are killing each other at levels that haven't been seen since the Second World War. So we'll have to get that one straightened out, too. That's a tough one. Much tougher than it would have been before it started, I can tell you that. A deal could have been made just by an average deal maker. Deal could have been made on that. So thank you all for coming. We'll take a couple of questions. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
President, thank you. Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to... Hold on.
Is this where they straight up ask him if he'll roll out military force? He's like, no, I'm not rolling out military force.
Use military or economic... What your plan is. Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the...
For coming. We'll take a couple of questions. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
President, thank you.
That would be right and fence. Jim Barr, what's up?
Fire that you mentioned, but let's start, if we could, with...
Not really. Why? Well, I can think of some, yeah. I polished it. I'm full. I'm full, but that was tasty. Look at that.
Did you enjoy it?
It was good.
deal maker. Deal could have been made on that. So thank you all for coming. We'll take a couple of questions. Yeah. Go ahead, please.
President, thank you. Wanted to touch on the world on fire that you mentioned, but
Oh, I know. That used to be a beautiful drive, Blood Ripper, going up through Judith Gap. Now it's just so blighted. Oh, it's just a blight.
let's start, if we could, with your references to Greenland and the Panama Canal, so forth. Can you assure the world that as you try to get control of these areas, you are not going to use military or economic coercion?
No.
And can you tell us a little bit about what your plan is? Are you going to negotiate a new treaty? Are you going to ask the Canadians to hold a vote? What is the strategy?
Yeah, I can't assure you, you're talking about Panama and Greenland. No, I can't assure you on either of those two. But I can say this, we need them for economic security. The Panama Canal was built for our military. I'm not going to commit to that now. It might be that you'll have to do something. Look, the Panama...
Trump literally just said it might be that you'll have to use military force to take back Panama Canal. Yeah, we're the neo-isolationists now. How do all the isolationists feel about Trump now?
Panama Canal is vital to our country. It's being operated by China. China. And we gave the Panama Canal to Panama. We didn't give it to China. And they've abused it. They've abused that gift. It should have never been made, by the way. Giving the Panama Canal is why Jimmy Carter lost the election, in my opinion, more so maybe than the hostages. The hostages were a big deal. But if you remember, and nobody wants to talk about the Panama Canal now because, you know, it's inappropriate, I guess, but because it's a bad part of the Carter legacy. But he was a good man. Look, he was a good man. I knew him a little bit, and he was a very fine person, but that was a big mistake. Giving the Panama Canal to Panama was a very big mistake. We lost 38,000 people. It cost us the equivalent of $1 trillion, maybe more than that. Probably the most expensive, they say it was the most expensive structure, if we call it a structure, which I guess you can, ever built. And giving that away was a horrible thing. And I believe that's why Jimmy Carter lost the election, even more so than the hostages. Those two things.
If I could follow up on Ukraine and Iran, the two negotiations you'll be heading into. On Ukraine, you said just before it's a lot more complicated now.
Much more complicated.
Do you believe...
Because it would have never started.
Right, but it has started. You've
well,
got
not only started, the cities are largely knocked down.
So
they're
got
like
what you've got. At this point, to hold on to leverage in dealing with President Putin, would you make a commitment to the Ukrainians that you will keep supporting them during the negotiations?
Well, I wouldn't tell you if that were the case.
Would you make a commitment to provide a security...
Well, I wouldn't tell you if that was the case. Oh, Trump is hilarious.
Guarantee if they do enter into an armistice or a ceasefire, along the lines that the French and the Germans hold on the leverage in dealing with President Putin, would you make a commitment to the Ukrainians that you will keep supporting them during the negotiations?
Well, I wouldn't tell you if that were the case.
Would you make a commitment to provide a security guarantee if they do enter into an armistice or a ceasefire, along the lines that the French and the Germans...
So, you know, a big part of the problem was Russia for many, many years, long before Putin said you could never have NATO involved with Ukraine. Now, they've said that. That's been, like, written in stone. And somewhere along the line, Biden said, no, they should be able to join NATO. Well, then Russia has somebody right on their doorstep, and I could understand their feeling about that. But there were a lot of mistakes made in that negotiation. And when I heard the way that Biden was negotiating, I said, you're going to end up in a war. And it turned out to be a very bad war. And it could escalate. That war could escalate to be much worse than it is right now.
They can never join NATO.
Well, my view is that it was always understood. In fact, I believe that they had a deal, and then Biden broke it. They had a deal, which would have been a satisfactory deal to Ukraine and everybody else, but that Biden said, no, you have to be able to join NATO. And that's always been, and nobody knows more about NATO than I. You know, years ago when I first started this, I didn't know too much about NATO, but I got it right anyway. I said they're taking advantage. I'm the one that got, and the Secretary General was here, as you know, 2 weeks ago, saying that If it weren't for me, NATO wouldn't even exist right now, because I raised from countries that weren't paying their bills. At that time, 28 countries, 20 of them were not paying their bills, 21 to be exact. They weren't paying, or they were paying a very small portion. And I raised over $680 billion. That was the number he gave.
Oh, really, Ryan Fence? Is that the deal, Ryan Fence? Our contract was over on the canal. We had to give it back. Is that right? Okay, I've never studied it. I've honestly never researched or studied, like, the Panama Canal history. I still don't believe there are any isolationists. People just weren't convinced by the Biden regime that pumping cash into Ukraine was the right call. Everyone know by now what it is. I think there's some truth to that, Altair. I will say that there's a fair amount of maybe not okay, I'll say maybe there aren't isolationists, but there is certainly a fair amount of isolationism amongst a lot of people, especially when our federal government is spending $7 trillion every year, and we're spending like $10 billion, which is like 0.001% of the budget is going to foreign aid. That's saving lives and really bolstering the U.S. image abroad. And everybody says, cut that, cut that, cut that. It's like, all right. I guess you don't really understand the world very well. The United States gets so much benefit from basically foreign aid and having military bases around the world and spending all. Now, I get that, like, you want to be smart about it. You don't want to have any waste in it, et cetera, but this is the federal government, and that's going to be very difficult. But it's I agree that absolutely needs to be taken part of it. But there's a lot of people that do not support having the United States military having like bases in 100 countries around the world, and us exerting influence around the world by spending money all around the world, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There's lots of people that disagree with that, and I would say that's some form of like isolationism.
If you don't pay, we're not going to protect you. And as soon as I said that, the money came pouring in. But Obama could have said it. Other people could have said it. Bush could have said it. Nobody said it but me. I took a lot of heat. They said, oh, that's a threatening statement.
Yeah, I mean, and I agree with that there's I agree that I don't really trust our government or the media to get foreign aid right or to get foreign policy right either. And obviously they don't get it right. Like Joe Biden totally screwed up our foreign policy and wasted a bunch of American money overseas. I agree with that too. So it's like, yeah, when you have somebody like Biden in there and he is just kind of wasting our money and just throwing all this cash at Ukraine when it should have never happened in the first place. It's like, yeah, I'm pissed off about that too. So I get that. I get that side of it, and I agree with it.
Well, they weren't paying their bills. I said, we're not going to protect you if you're not paying the bills. So in a true sense, I saved NATO, but NATO's taken advantage of us. And one of the problems that I have, and I've said it openly, I said it to President Zelensky, Europe is in for a tiny fraction of the money that we're in. Now, whether you like that situation or not, Europe is much more affected than the United States. We have a thing called the ocean in between us, right? Why are we in for billions and billions of dollars more money than Europe? And, they're a similar size, a little smaller, but they're a similar size economy as the United States when you add them up. And yet Europe is in for a small fraction of the number the United States is in. Now, Biden could have called them up during the term. That's what I did. I said, you have to pay your bills. And one stood up. I won't say who. You'll probably have it because the media hated to report on it. But a prime minister stood up from a country, our famous meeting of 28 nations with no press, no anybody in the room. He stood up, he says, does that mean if we don't pay our bill, and at that point it was 2%, it should be 5%. It should be 5%, not 2%. But at that point it was 2%, but many people didn't pay. Some people didn't pay anything. But many people were way, including Germany. Germany was at less than 1%.
You're going to press for 5%?
Well, I think NATO should have 5%, yeah. Well, you can't do it at 2%. I mean, at 2%, every country, if you're going to have a country in a regular military, you're at 4%. I think they should be, they're in dangerous territory. I think it should be, they can all afford it, but they should be at 5%, not 2%. I'm the one that got them to pay 2%. But a gentleman stood up, a prime minister stood up, and he said to me, sir, could I ask you a question? You're saying we have to pay our bills. If we don't pay our bills, will the United States protect us from Russia? I said, if you don't pay, you mean you're delinquent? He said, yes. He said, if you're delinquent, we will not protect you. I took a lot of heat. Although it was somewhat closed door, I took a lot of heat from the media. And you know what happened? The money started pouring in. That's why NATO has money. And the Secretary General said it was the most incredible thing he had ever seen in a negotiation. Now, if I would have said, yes, we will, nobody would have paid. If I would have loved to say, yes, we'll protect you even if you don't pay. But that's not the way life works.
True. That's not the way life works.
Two questions.
Amazing. It's just so blunt and common sense.
You're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please. Please.
On Jack Smith's report. Good afternoon, Mr. President. It's good to see you again. 2 questions about Syria and the ongoing war in Gaza. About Syria, the Pentagon disclosed last month the U.S. has some 2,000 troops in Syria. That's almost double the number initially we were told of 900. Will you keep that troop capacity the same upon taking?
Well, I won't tell you that because that's part of a military strategy, but I will say it was Turkey. Turkey's been after that country in different names and different forms and shapes for 2,000 years. Those people that went in are from Turkey. And President Erdogan is a friend of mine. He's a guy I like, respect. I think he respects me also. He's the one that didn't go after certain people after I requested that he not. You know who I'm talking about, the Kurds. I don't know how long that's going to, because they're natural enemies. They hate each other. But he didn't do that yet. And he didn't do it in the past also. He started, and I said, please don't do that, and he didn't do it. So, but if you look at what happened with Syria, Russia was weakened, Iran was weakened, and he's a very smart guy. And he sent his people in there through different forms and different names, and they went in and they took over, and that's the way it is.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Do you have concerns about HTS taking control of
By the way,
Syria?
I have the envoy here. Is that in the back? It is. Standing with my son, Eric, is Steve Witkoff, who's just got back from the Middle East, and he's done a fantastic job. He's a great deal maker. I said, what we need there is a deal maker, because nobody makes a deal. We have people that understand where the rivers are and where the meets and bounds are, but they can't talk. They can't make deals. Steve's done a great job. I just want to thank you, Steve. You've been working endlessly for months, and he's working specifically on the hostages, trying to get them back.
Well, that was my second question. Is Hamas
Steve, come up for a second. Maybe you might want to say a couple of words.
Sir,
I didn't
released another hostage
I didn't know Steve was going to be here, actually.
Neither did I.
He's done a fantastic job, and it's a dangerous job, too, and we appreciate it. He didn't know about this kind of danger and the other deal-making he does. Now he sees a lot of big danger. Come on up, Steve.
Mr. President, can I ask you a second part of that? Hamas released
Just one
another
second,
hostage
please.
video.
I'm going to give you a little report on the hostages, if I can. Steve? Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wow. Well, I think we're making a lot of progress, and I don't want to say too much because I think they're doing a really good job back in Doha. I'm leaving tomorrow back to go to Doha, but I think that we've had some really great progress, and I'm really hopeful that by the inaugural, we'll have some good things to announce on behalf of the President. I actually believe that we're working in tandem in a really good way, but it's the President, his reputation, the things that he has said that are driving this negotiation. And so hopefully it'll all work out and we'll save some lives. I believe we've been on the verge of it. I don't want to discuss sort of what's delayed it. There's no point to be negative in any way. But
Biden did strengthen NATO, I guess, but at the expense of the U.S. It's funny, when Biden got into office, the rest of the world partied. Let's see what they do when Trump is sworn in and they realize the free B is over. Amen, riding fence, yep. Reparations for J6 lawfare victims to be paid out of Joe Robinette Biden's library fund. Amen to that ethos.
But I think it's the president, his stature, what he said he expects, the red lines he's put out there, that's driving this negotiation. I'm going back probably either this evening or tomorrow night.
Are you confident there'll be a deal before January 20th, or is that something that's likely to happen, if there's a deal even at all? And we've been hearing this now for the better part of...
I know. I would say...
They better be.
Right. I would say that the president is exasperated. I don't want to talk for him, but look, I don't know anyone who delegates better than President Trump. He gives us a lot of authority to speak on his behalf, and he exhorts us to speak emphatically. And emphatically means you better get it, you better do this, because the alternative...
Do you think they're waiting for President Trump to take office?
No, I think they heard him loud and clear. Better get done by the inaugural.
But when you say all hell will be paid, that all hell must be paid if they don't release the hostages.
Well, do I have to define it for you? Look, all hell will break out.
All hell. I love that. Donald Trump saying all hell will break out. Do I have to define that for you? Yeah, where the isolation... Oh, sorry. I forgot. There aren't any isolation. Where are the neo-appeasers now?
Aren't back. I don't want to hurt your negotiation. If they're not back by the time I get into office, all hell will break out in the Middle East.
Yeah, that's not a...
And it will not be good for Hamas.
That's not an isolationist foreign policy right there.
And it will not be good, frankly, for anyone. All hell will break out. I don't have to say anymore, but that's what it is. And they should have given them back a long time. They should have never taken them. They should have never been the attack of October 7th. People forget that. But there was, and many people are killed. They're no longer hostages. I have people from Israel and others calling, begging me to get, we had also people there from the United States, just so you know. They're holding some so-called hostages from the U.S. But I've had mothers come to me and fathers crying, can I get the body of their son back? Can I get the body of their daughter back? That beautiful girl where they threw her in the car, pulled her by her ponytail and threw her in the car like she was a sack of potatoes. I said, what happened to her? Sir, she's dead. Like a 19, 20-year-old beautiful girl. And the way they treated her. And I just say it this very simply. Steve's got a job to do. He's a great guy, great negotiator, great person. They respect him over there already. It's what we needed over there. We have people that know everything about the Middle East, but they can't speak properly. They don't know. He's a great negotiator. That's what I needed. I could have sent that gentleman right over there, Hussein. He's a great negotiator. There are people, they're rare. Great negotiators are very rare, like a great surgeon. But we have the right person. But I tell this, I don't want to hurt the negotiation. If the deal isn't done before I take office, which is now going to be 2 weeks, all hell will break out in the Middle East. Okay?
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
President.
You've done a great job.
Oh, man, I love it. Let's go.
More than 140 police officers were injured by rioters on January 6th. Will you pardon anyone who attacked a police officer?
Well, the only one that was killed was a beautiful young lady named Ashley Babbitt. She was killed, and there was actually somebody else that was killed, also a MAGA person, but people don't give it 100% credibility. I'm going to find out about it, and we're going to find out. But Ashley Babbitt was killed. She was shot.
Who else was killed?
She had never been
What's he
shot.
talking about?
She was shot for no reason whatsoever. In fact, they say that she was trying to hold back the crowd, and the crowd was made up of a lot of different people, so we'll see. But I will tell you this, the person that was killed was Ashley Babbitt. The other thing is, when they talk, there was never charges of insurrection or anything like that. But if there were, this would be the only insurrection in history where people went in as insurrectionists with not one gun. okay? And let me tell you, the people that you're talking about have a lot of guns in their home for hunting and for shooting and for entertainment, a lot of good reasons. But there wasn't one gun that they found. And
I can't stand it when people that are like Trump, like, you know, New York City, like big city people that talk about guns, they talk about hunting and shooting and entertainment and sports. Like, no, we have it for defense.
They find the bomber, the pipe bomber. You know, they know who the pipe bomber is. The FBI knows who it is. The status of the FBI has gone down so far, and the status of the DOJ, or as I call it, the Department of Justice, it's the Department of Injustice. It's being laughed at all over the world. And hopefully with Pam Bondi and with Kash Patel and with other people that we're putting in, that will all come back. If you do a poll in the FBI, I guarantee I'm at like 90% with the agents of the FBI, but they have hurt that incredible place. Law enforcement, I mean, you think of the FBI, they raided this house. By the way, they could have told me, could I see this? I would have given them, I actually told them, come in.
Lecture, what are your thoughts on Ashley? I wish she hadn't been shot. I agree with that. I wish she hadn't been shot. But she broke through a window and climbed through. I just know that if someone broke my window and climbed in, I'd probably shoot too, so I kind of understand the cop side. No problem, though, if that question is too sensitive for Twitch. I don't know, Altair, honestly. I see your point. I get what you're saying there, too. I think the problem is we never ever got all of the footage, right, Altair? Like they hid all of the footage, so we don't know. Like I would like to see like 20 minutes, like the 20 minutes before the Ashley Babbitt was like climbing through the window, because Trump was saying she was trying to stop the crowd. Like we don't know because all we see is little clips here and there. It's like the Democrats deleted all the video.
And anytime you want, you can see anything. They raided the house, and the case was dismissed. And now I'm in litigation. I'm suing them for doing that, and I feel so badly doing it. I'm the president of the United States, and I'm suing the United States, but I'm suing them for other things, too.
I love that. I love that so much.
The FBI has gone so...
The United States president is suing the United States. The United States is so litigious. I love it so much. Trump has sued so many people. Isn't it insane that like 90% plus of like all lawsuits worldwide are filed in the United States?
It's
actually, let's see if that's true. Let's see if ChatGPT will tell me that. Okay, what a percentage of all lawsuits worldwide are filed within the USA on an average year? It is often stated that the United States accounts for 80 to 90% of the world's lawsuits. This stat reflects the litigious nature of the U.S. legal system, which includes a high rate of civil disputes. Wow. Oh, man, that's crazy, dude. The U.S. has a large number of lawyers and a robust legal infrastructure. The U.S. has a accessible legal system, strong protections for individual rights, and a culture where legal remedies are commonly sought for grievances. However, it's important to note this statistic is a rough estimate and can vary depending on the source. Size of the legal industry, tort law. The U.S. has expansive tort laws that allow individuals to sue for damages in a wide range of cases. Class action lawsuits, access to courts. Interesting. Does the United States have like more litigious tort law than compared to like Canada or the UK or Australia? I would have expected the U.S. to not necessarily be the worst on tort law. Is the U.S. tort law really that bad compared to other countries?
Its reputation has been so horribly hurt between Comey, who is the worst, and all of the others. What's happened to the FBI is, and we're going to make it great again. We're going to make the FBI great again. We're going to make the Department of Justice fair and strong, but fair again, because all they did was attack me because I'm their political opponent, and that includes with local judges like Marchand. You ought to find out. Ask them, why do I have a gag order where I'm not allowed to speak? Think of it. I'm the President of the United States, and I'm not allowed to speak. Why? Because if I did speak, people would understand the scam. It's a scam. And we have very dishonest judges, and New York judges are very bad. We had one that valued this house at $18 million because it was good for their case. He actually valued that chandelier is worth more than $18 million. He valued this house at $18 million. And we have another one who was so nasty, so horrible, such a brute, most vicious, vile person. These are New York judges. But we've won most of the cases, so we're very happy about that. Please.
Back on Greenland, your position is clear, but have you directed your staff to take these specific actions to draw plans? And can you elaborate again? You didn't rule out military coercion.
I just rewatched the clip of Ashley Babbitt. It's more insane than I remembered. There were cops in the hallway behind her. The Capitol Police that fired could have easily killed other police officers. Massive failure in communication. Oh, wow, Altair. Yeah, so it does sound like, okay. Wow.
Well, we need Greenland for national security purposes. I've been told that for a long time, long before I even ran. I mean, people have been talking about it for a long time. You have approximately 45,000 people there. People really don't even know if Denmark has any legal right to it. But if they do, they should give it up because we need it for national security. That's for the free world. I'm talking about protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside, you have China ships all over the place. You have Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants
Boom! Oh, it's so good to have an assertive American a president that is assertive in foreign policy. Donald Trump is so much more assertive of American power in a foreign policy. I love it. It's the opposite of isolation. Joe Biden is an isolationist compared to Donald Trump. This is incredible. I love it.
Get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
Have you asked your staff to draw plans for acquisition? I mean,
if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
About protecting the free world. You look at, you don't even need binoculars. You look outside. You
I didn't quite understand what he said he was going to tariff Denmark for if they don't give him
Greenland. You have
Greenland.
Russian ships all over the place. We're not letting that happen. We're not letting it happen. And if Denmark wants to get to a conclusion, but nobody knows if they even have any right, title, or interest. The people are going to probably vote for independence or to come into the United States. But if they did do that, then I would tariff Denmark at a very high level.
for acquisition? I mean, are you active?
No, we're not at that stage, but we have people. I haven't even entered office yet.
Secondly, sir, Elon Musk has drawn some criticism and a lot of attention for some of his actions and provocative statements about foreign affairs, including in Europe. Your reaction to that, is that appropriate for...
You mean where he likes people that tended to be conservative? I don't know the people. I can say Elon's doing a good job, very smart guy. I don't know the people you're talking about. He was, I know he said some negative...
Exactly, 1927 ethos. Talking about doing things for the free world, that is not isolationist. Correct, 1927. It also shows that Donald Trump understands and recognizes that we are in a global ideological struggle between republicanism, like we have here in the United States, versus tyranny and authoritarianism and communism that you have in China and Russia. And so... and lots of other parts of the world too. So that's what that means from Donald Trump, and that's awesome because that's fantastic to have an American president that recognizes that, and I love it because most of your, a lot of your populist right hate that kind of stuff. They're gonna hate Donald Trump. They always wanted to pretend that Trump was an isolationist when he really wasn't.
Things about a couple of people that are running for office, but it's not so unusual. Yes, please.
I wanted to ask you.
Man, Donald Trump is just so powerful. He's just so in his element right now for this press conference. Donald Trump, and you can tell he's totally different now that he won the election. He's got so much just gravitas and just like he's so laid back. He's much more laid back and he's just like powerful and he's just like whatever I say goes. Whatever I say goes. Whereas before he was trying to convince you. Now it's like no, I'm what I say goes. It's crazy to see that difference.
Ukraine and Putin. How soon do you anticipate going to meet with Putin to discuss the Ukraine situation?
Well, I can't tell you that, but I know that Putin would like to meet. I don't think it's appropriate that I meet until after the 20th, which I hate because, every day people are being, many, many young people are being killed, soldiers. The land is very flat and hundreds of thousands of soldiers from many hundreds of thousands from each side are dead. And they're laying in fields all over the place. Nobody to even collect. There's landmines all over. It's a disaster. But it's very flat. It's great. It's farmland, and it's very, very flat. And the only thing that stops a bullet is the human body. And the human body is stopping a lot of bullets.
Within the first 3 to 6 months?
I hope to have 6 months. No, I hope long before 6 months. Look, Russia's losing a lot of young people, and so is Ukraine. And it should have never been started. That's a war that should have never happened. I guarantee you, if I were president, that war would have never happened.
Who would you like to nominate to replace Michael Barr as vice chair of the military?
I'll be announcing somebody.
Mr. President, if we were to work under the assumption that you're serious about making Canada 51st state of the United States, the leader of the Conservative Party in Canada said, under no circumstance will it ever be the 51st state.
Maybe he won't win, but maybe he will. I don't care.
You had suggested.
Listen, I don't care what he says.
I don't care what he says. I don't care what he says. I love that.
To acquire Panama and Greenland, are you also considering military force to annex and acquire Canada?
No, economic force, because Canada and the United States, that would really be something.
Okay, so Trump is considering military force to take the Panama Canal and Greenland, but only economic force to take Canada. Trump is considering military force to take Panama Canal and Greenland, but he is only willing to use economic force to make Canada a state. I'm down with that.
Get rid of that artificially drawn line, and you take a look at what that looks like. And it would also be much better for national security. Don't forget, we basically protect Canada. But here's
yeah, that's weird. 45,000 and then and then you heist it and then it must have done the election on like its automatic like timed thing. Wow.
the problem with Canada. So many friends up there. I love the Canadian people. They're great. But we're spending hundreds of billions a year to protect it. We're spending hundreds of billions a year to take care
Looks
of
like
Canada.
a good success heist.
We lose in trade deficits.
Anybody lose?
We don't need their cars. You know, they make 20%.
Oh,
of our
Altair,
cars.
you
We don't
lost.
need
Oh,
that.
no.
I'd rather make them in Detroit.
Oh, no,
We
Altair.
don't need the cars. We don't need their lumber. We have massive fields of lumber. We don't need their lumber. We have to unrestrict them because stupid people put, restrictions on, but I can do that with an executive order. We don't need anything they have. We don't need their dairy products. We have more than they have. We don't need anything. So why are we losing $200 billion a year and more to protect Canada? And I said that to, as I called him, Governor Trudeau. I said, listen, what would happen if we didn't subsidize you, if we didn't, because we give them a lot of money. We help them. As an example, we're buying icebreakers, and Canada wants to join us in the buying of icebreakers. I said, we don't really want to have a partner in the buying of icebreakers. We don't need a partner. But no right. Nope, no right. Here's what we have. We have a right not to help them with their financial difficulties because we owe $36 trillion too. We're going to start knocking it out pretty fast, but we're going to be able to do it because of energy and other things. But no right. No right. But why are we supporting a country, $200 billion plus a year? Our military is at their disposal. All of these other things, they should be a state. That's why I told Trudeau when he came down, I said, what would happen if we didn't do it? He said Canada would dissolve. Canada wouldn't be able to function if we didn't take their 20% of our car market. You know, again, they send us hundreds of thousands of cars. They make a lot of money with that. They send us a lot of other things that we don't need. We don't need their cars, and we don't need the other products. We don't need their milk. We got a lot of milk. We got a lot of everything. And we don't need any of it. So I said to him, well, why are we doing it? He said, I don't really know. He was unable to answer the question. But I can answer it. We're doing it because...
Why did we need to trade with you? He was unable to answer. Donald Trump is hilarious.
Of habit. And we're doing it because we like our neighbors, and we've been good neighbors. But we can't do it forever, and it's a tremendous amount of money. And why should we have a $200 billion deficit and add on to that many, many other things that we give them in terms of subsidy? And I said, that's okay to have if you're a state. But if you're another country, we don't want to have it. We're not going to have it with European Union either. European Union, we have a trade deficit of $350 billion. They don't take our cars. They don't take our farm product. They don't take anything. And so we're not going to have it with them either. Brian, go ahead.
Yes. Happy New Year, by the way.
Thank you.
We have some breaking news. You may not be aware of this, but it looks like Canon has blocked the DOJ from releasing the Smiths report until further court proceedings. Get your thoughts on that.
That's a big story.
Yeah.
So if I get it right, the fake witch hunt started by the DOJ having to do with books and records, and Biden had many more, and he wasn't protected by the Presidential Records Act. I was. But all of that fake stuff that took the lives of people, I mean, literally destroyed people. People are destroyed because of what they did. Destroyed. But we got to be president. But Biden did it for 40 years. He did it when he was a senator. That was illegal. And they ruled it was illegal. How about that? They said, it's illegal, but he's unfit to stand trial. So he can stand and be president of the United States, but the prosecutor found that he's unfit for trial. I was going to use that as a major talking point, but I never got to use it because all of a sudden I had a new candidate who was also sort of unfit to stand trial, right? But so what you're saying is that the judge just blocked the, so Cannon was thrown off the case. They dropped their appeal because he had no case. They dropped all of that, the lawsuits against us. They lost the lawsuit. So this is
correct. 1927. Owned. What up?
So he dropped the lawsuits. He was told to by the DOJ because they had no lawsuit. They lost in court.
Absolutely, Num. I love it too, Num. I love it so much. I'm loving this press conference so much.
In front of a very strong and a very brilliant judge. They lost in court, and that pertained to other cases in other courts. So he wanted to do a report just before I take office, probably. So he'll do like a 500-page report, and it'll be a fake report, just like the investigation was a fake investigation. And I said, well, wait a minute. This guy was thrown off in disgrace. In disgrace. He's going back to The Hague or wherever they're going to send him. In disgrace. Because he failed so badly. Because it was a fake case against a political opponent. They thought they were going to use this to beat me. So what you're saying is, I'm just hearing that they're not allowed to issue the report. So if they're not allowed to issue the report, that's the way it should be. Because he was thrown off the case in disgrace. Why should he be allowed to write a fake report? It'll only be a fake report. That's great news. Yeah. Good.
And if I can just follow up real quickly, you want to comment, many Americans are angry that we're sending millions of dollars every month to the Taliban. Do you anticipate?
It's not even believable. Billions of dollars, not millions, billions. We pay billions of dollars to essentially the Taliban, Afghanistan. And that's given by Biden. That's the same man that took away $50 to $60 trillion worth of value from the United States. Think of it, probably our most valuable asset. Took away our most valuable asset. This can't be allowed to happen. We are now a nation of common sense. When he does that, 625 million acres, this can't be allowed to happen. Thank you for the information. Most other people probably knew about it, but they wouldn't have told me, right?
On the campaign trail, you vowed to bring down the prices at grocery stores very fast.
Yeah, we won't
but
do it
then you
fast.
recently told Time Magazine that bringing down prices would be very hard. So what can the American people expect when you get into office?
It's always
When
hard to
can they
bring
go
down
the
prices when
grocery
somebody
bill
else has screwed something up like they did. But we'll bring them down. We'll get them down. Energy is going to bring down prices. We're going to have a lot of energy, and energy is what brought it up. Energy and their bad spending is what brought it up, and energy is going to bring it down. We're going to have prices down. I think you're going to see some pretty drastic price reductions. As an example, food, bacon.
You know what's crazy is the energy markets are way down. Like energy companies stocks are way down. Freaking look at Asia. All the Asia stock markets are way down. Dude, we're having like a crash right now. Social media companies decide content moderation is trending down. Meta follows in X's footsteps by letting users fact check each other with community notes. That's amazing, dude. Wow. Think about the fact that all of the naysayers about Elon Musk and what he was doing with X, and now Facebook is copycatting Elon Musk at X. That's incredible, isn't that? Wow. Who would have guessed? I wanted to check out the markets really quick to see. AI startup Anthropic raising funds valuing it at 60 billion. Rise and fall of the machines. Yet Nvidia itself fell 6% Tuesday. Some excitement about Wong Say was already backed in after the shares rose C-point to a record on Monday. The pullback underscores how much AI hype is priced into the shares, given Nvidia's market cap. Vaccine maker Moderna rose 12% on bird flu fears after U.S. health officials confirmed first American death caused by the H5N1. CFPB bans medical bills from credit reports. FanDuel parent warns NFL bettors won too much. Well, why would anybody pay their medical bills if it doesn't show up on your credit reports? What in the world, dude? Wow, okay.
Ham, apples, everything has gone through the roof. It's one of the reasons I won. So as you know, I said it, inflation was one of the reasons I won, but I think the biggest reason I won was the fact that they are allowing prisoners to come into our country. They released their prisoners, their murderers. Thousands of murderers are now walking around the streets of our cities and farmland all over. Murders, people that have killed. Many, 32% have killed more than one person. They released them from their jails, their prisons, and their mental institutions and insane asylums into our country. I believe that's the reason we got such a large vote. All right, maybe one or two more questions. Yeah, please, go ahead. Go ahead, you go.
Sir, can you, President Carter is laying in state today in Washington. You had some harsh words for him about the Panama Canal. Is there any disconnect there? Do you feel a little bit bad about doing that on this day?
No, I liked him as a man. I disagreed with his policy. So, hey, he thought giving away the Panama Canal was a good thing. I think it cost him the election. That and the hostages. I actually think that was a bigger factor because that's a deal that just should not have been made. But
what a nasty question.
Again, this was a question that was asked of me. I didn't.
Life Too Quick. What's up, Life Too Quick? You've been loading up on SPXS. Is that just short, like the S&P 500, or what is that? Direction on daily S&P 500 bear 3x shares. Yeah, this stuff. But this is, you shouldn't be loading up on this. This is supposed to be traded on a daily basis. See, long term it decays.
Bring it up. I didn't want to bring up the Panama Canal.
That's a day trading. That's a day trading thing. You should only be buying that and getting out of that like on a day trade basis.
Jimmy Carter's death, but people don't bring it up. But you know, you and other people have asked me about it. No, it's a deal that I was very strongly against. I was a young guy when this took place, but just why would we spend all of that money, lose 38,000 people to malaria, the mosquito, that were dying, It was horrible what was happening. They paid them 4 times more than they would make in the United States, but they knew they were going to go over there and die. And they died in the jungles of malaria. There was nothing we could do to stop it. 30th, and then we gave it away for $1.
Without getting your agenda through Congress, you appeared to open the door in your radio interview yesterday for 2 bill approaches. It's still your preference for one big, beautiful bill, as you have said.
Well, I like one big, beautiful bill, and I always have, I always will. But if 2 is more certain, it does go a little bit quicker because you can do the immigration stuff early. Now, you have to understand, for immigration and for the wall, we won the case on the wall. You know, they tried to sell the wall for 5 cents on the dollar, by the way. And we had, fortunately, a judge that stopped that. But they were already discarding the wall. And 5 cents on the dollar. And you know what they were doing? They were calling us up and saying, we'll sell it back to you at 200 cents. In other words, double what we paid for it. So they were going to buy it from this guy for 5 cents on the dollar. They were making deals. And fortunately, we had a very smart judge that stopped it cold. I think he called for an investigation, too, and he should. But think of it. They were selling the wall that was exactly the wall that the Border Patrol wanted. That was designed by them. Steel, concrete, rebar, exactly as they want. Very, very heavy steel, very powerful steel, hard to cut. Very, very heavy 7,000-pound concrete, which is a very strong concrete. Everything was top of the line. Very expensive. Would be double what we paid for it then, 6 years ago. But let me just tell you, they were selling it for 5 cents on the dollar to people, and those people were calling us, asking us to pay them 200 cents because it's a good deal because we can have it immediately. And you know what immediately is? Just leave it in place. No, the papers haven't written that, though. That deal is like all the other things that these people do. These people either hate our country or they're very stupid. And I don't believe they're stupid because nobody can cheat on elections like they cheat and be stupid. They either hate our country or they're stupid. So remember what I said, because nobody wants to report it. They were selling the wall for 5 cents on the dollar and trying to resell it back to us for 200 cents or less, but for 200 cents on the dollar. That's a nice return.
They announced that it will stop putting fact checks on posts on its website. And Meta said today it would stop putting fact checks on its website and instead allow community to fact check.
Well, I watched their news conference, and I thought it was a very good news conference. I think they've come a long way. Meta, Facebook. I think they've come a long way. I watched it. The man was very impressive. I watched it. Actually, I watched it on Fox. I'm not allowed to say that. Say it?
Do you think he's directly responsible?
I'm not allowed to say that.
Probably.
Oh, man. Donald Trump is just so freaking funny.
The last time you were here, you were asked a question about the U.S. possibly launching a preemptive strike on Iran. You said you wouldn't answer that question.
On who?
Obviously, on Iran. The U.S. launching a preemptive strike on Iran's nuclear facilities.
And I said, I don't talk about it. It's a military strategy.
But it is a legitimate question. It's something that
well, it's not really, because only a stupid person would answer it. Look, it's a military strategy, and I'm not answering your questions on military strategy. All right, one more. Brian, go ahead. Brian.
Could you give us a preview of what you might be talking to leaders of Congress who are expected to come here in the next couple of days? And you've got a very supportive Congress behind you.
Yeah, they're great. So we have a wonderful Republican Congress. We have a leader that I have a lot of confidence in. I think he's going to be, hopefully, a great leader, a great speaker. And we have a leader, by the way, in the Senate I think has been great. John Thune has been doing a fantastic job. But it goes through the House first.
Wow.
And
wow.
The question is whether or not we do the 2 bills or 1 bill. And, you know, look.
Right. I agree, 1927,
yep.
Of
the one big bill. But
oh, by the way, Life Too Quick. What's up? Selling covered calls when it spikes. Plan to sell on the big pump. Good. On another note, I'm living in the Bay Area in California. I've noticed a shift when Trump was... Wait, really? Life Too Quick? What kind of shift? What kind of shift have you noticed in the Bay Area in Cali?
By the way. But they'll be coming down. The senators also will be coming down. And then ultimately we'll be meeting in the White House in a few weeks. But right now this is the winter season. You know, they sort of call this the winter White House. It was built, I don't know if you know this, Marjorie Meriwether Post and E.F. Hutton built this. It was the greatest of all the estates in our country. And I saved it, and I got a lot of credit for saving it. Most of these big, great houses have been knocked down in Palm Beach. just about all of them actually, and you'd build 10 mansions on one site, but we saved it. But this was built as the Southern White House, and she gave it to the government. And by the way, Jimmy Carter gave it back. He said it's too expensive for the United States. So I didn't realize that.
Real quick, I was just told.
Actually, Jimmy Carter, Nixon was through Watergate. He came down. Nixon came here once, and he thought it was incredible. But he had a thing called Watergate, if anybody remembers that. And so he had other things on his mind, to put it mildly. And Jimmy Carter felt that it was too extravagant for the country. So fortunately for me, he gave it back to the foundation, and I bought it from the foundation.
On reconciliation, some Republicans saying in trade for a massive bill that you and they share the interest in, they want to see big spending cuts. Do you agree with that? And what would
Well,
your
I'm okay
companies
with
be
spending
on?
cuts. I like spending cuts. Just, I'm on the record for spending cuts. And the debt ceiling was given to us. It shouldn't have been, but it was put in our lap. And what I want in terms of debt ceiling isn't the ceiling. I just don't want to see a default. That's all I want. I never talked about spending more money necessarily than all I want to see is no default, because nobody knows what would happen if there was a default. It could be 1929 and it could be nothing. But that was put into our lap, and it shouldn't have been, but it was, and so we'll handle it. But debt ceiling is not about raising a lot of money. It's really just about extending it. I just want to see an extension.
On immigration, how much can you do by executive order? Are you planning to do on executive order when it comes to immigration? And how much do you want Congress to tackle this issue? And also on day one.
Trump's repeating himself. No, Trump's repeating himself. He said the same thing a couple of times.
I had the safest border in the history of our country by far. You remember the famous chart that I brought down. I love that chart very much for a lot of reasons. But I have the safest border by far in the history of our country. And when I took it over, it was a mess. Nothing like it is now. This is 10 times worse.
I mean, a lot of what Trump has said in the last hour and a half is frankly stuff we've heard him say before. Some of it's new, though. There's quite a bit of new stuff here. But Trump always repeats himself, frankly. Always has, in a lot of ways. Not always,
elected
but
because of the border the first time. And I think I got elected largely because of the border the third time. And the second time I did equally well. Well, not as well as the last time, but I did very well. And I will say, this was too big to rig. You know the expression? Too big to rig. They couldn't do it. They tried, but they couldn't do it. I didn't get very much from Congress at all. I just said that we're being invaded, and I took the money out of the military. Much of the wall, I built over 500 miles of wall. Much of that wall was built through money that I put into the military. We took it out because we couldn't get things from Congress in those days, and we took it out. And that wall was built largely with money coming from the military. So, very simple. I went to the military. I said, our country is being invaded by very similar, nothing like what's invading our country now. They weren't releasing prisons into our country, and they weren't releasing mental institutions in, but some bad dudes were coming in, right? And I said, our
my
country's
two
being
bros
invaded.
sing for the fall.
And I took that money largely from the military. I was sued 9 times by the Democrats in Congress, and I won all those.
Oh, Life Too Quick says, I've noticed lots of people being more irritable, traffic decreasing slightly as people leave, lots of budget issues at my work in the public sector. Many of my coworkers are either putting in more work in fear of layoffs or quiet quitting, putting in low effort because it's hard to get laid off if you are a permanent employee. Interesting. Oh, interesting, Life Too Quick. Okay, I was anticipating you had said something different, Life Too Quick, like people were happier and people were more upbeat now that Trump won, even though it's the Bay Area in California. But wow, okay, wild.
Those suits. And we ended up building 571 miles of wall. Once that wall was built, they start going around it. So we're going to add another 200. That would have been up in 3 weeks. And then we had a very unfortunate election result. And they said, we don't want to put it up. We'll sell it. And they started selling it for 5 cents on the dollar. What a second. So we'll do this again. I just want to thank everybody very much. I'm just telling you, this will be the golden age of America. This is the golden age of America. We're going to have a great country again. We're a country right now under siege. We have so many different problems, and nobody respects us overseas, but now they do. The Italian Prime Minister, as you know, came here the other night, just flew in and flew out. She wanted to see me, and great respect.
Heck yeah,
was
my
being
two
shown
bros.
when
Heck
I
yeah.
went to the cathedral in France. Great respect was shown by.
That's horrible. Life too quick. Is California really facing that bad of a situation? Oh my goodness. I don't know how California's been maintaining.
The Prime Minister, the President, by everybody. France was, and by the way, I have to say they did a great job in the cathedral. But great respect is being shown to our country again. And we have a great country, but we have to run it properly. It's going to be run properly. We want to get back those hostages for Israel and for us. You know, we do have people that are hostages being held. And I'll just say it again. If this deal's not done with the people representing our nation, by the time I get to office, all hell is going to break out. Thank you very much. Thank you.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So that press conference right there, led to this Wall Street Journal article. President-elect Trump declined to rule out using military or economic coercion to gain control of Greenland and the Panama Canal, ratcheting up his campaign to expand America's global footprint. I'm not going to commit to that now. I'll be that way. Okay, that we just heard that. He was responding to a question about whether he could offer reassurances that he wouldn't leverage U.S. military and economic might to get his way. Since winning the election, Trump has repeatedly raised the idea of taking over the Panama Canal from Panama and taking control of Greenland from Denmark. He also said Canada should become the 51st state in an apparent effort to troll Trudeau, the country's departing prime minister. During Tuesday's news conference, Trump threatened to hit Denmark with tariffs at a very high level if Danish officials don't cooperate with his bid to take over Greenland. He questioned whether Denmark has any legal right to control the territory. Trump and transition officials offered no details on the plans for territorial expansion. Territorial expansion, baby, let's go! We work on a couple of these. Wild swings back and forth from one president to the next with respect to what the United States really is. You know, it really is just truly wild. It's just the change in power and policy and everything else, and the changes that it'll have on the world is true. Oh, what? I didn't even. I don't know, man. I'm not getting any traction on some of these clips. These clips are trash. This would have never happened under Trump, obviously. Like, what's crazy? Here's a thought that I was having, guys. Like, what's so crazy about the United States is how completely opposite the United States foreign policy can go from one president to the next. Like, what Biden was doing and how Biden was acting compared to, like, with Trump in office, it truly is shocking just how. Oh yeah, those were a couple of decent points that I was making. Those are some decent ones.
An adventure, but if you're trying to develop your country, you need bigger airports. The problem is building airports is expensive, and no one wanted to fund this, except for China. The Prime Minister of Greenland went to Beijing, their friend, and said, hey...
Yeah, because China's got all that America. All right, let's see. That was that. Boom, boom, boom. All right, let's go back to this. Representative for Denmark's foreign ministry and Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen didn't respond to requests for comments, and Frederiksen said in a Danish television interview on Tuesday that Greenland is not for sale. Greenland belongs to the people of Greenland. Our future and fight for independence is our business. Mute Ugadi, Greenland's prime minister, said in a statement, our future and fight for independence is our business. Dude, that sounds like the Greenland prime minister actually wants independence. Good for him. So yeah, what the heck does Denmark have to do with this? Get your Europeans out of America. Greenland is an autonomous Danish territory with self-government and its own parliament. Denmark, a U.S. ally and member of NATO, maintains some control over the island, including its foreign policy. A NATO spokesman declined to comment. Why? Why does Denmark get to control Greenland's foreign policy? That makes no sense. It's like, what? Facebook ends fact checking on Facebook and Instagram in free speech pitch. Really? So now we're supposed to trust Facebook and Instagram to be free speech platforms? Oh man. What in the freaking world is wrong with some people? I wonder if Forbes Breaking News has anything interesting up. Nice. YouTube's recommending. I don't know why YouTube does this, dude. Why does YouTube do this? They recommend my own videos to me. It's just kind of weird, isn't it? I mean, not sure why it does that. Wow, this thing's not recommending any Forbes Breaking News videos. Weird.
How you doing?
Doing just fine.
Good.
So today, the MTA Chair General Lieber said that the MTA doesn't need to have their money management audited. He wanted to say that he was.
Have you watched Vikings? No, I haven't. What's that?
Happy with how they were managing their money with this influx of congestion pricing funds that is coming in. Now, you've been working with the MTA in Albany for 3 years now. You've come into office and you want to fiscally manage money in City Hall. Do you believe, running New York City, that the MTA has managed its money properly? And are you happy with what it's been doing in the city over the last 3 years? And then building on that with congestion pricing, you've repeatedly said we need to get this right. We need to have, however it is, this is like a moving target, eventually, I guess, summing up what you've said over the last few weeks. Now, what do you believe needs to be adjusted? Are there exemptions that need to be added here for, I know the fire unions are coming out, the police unions are speaking out about this. What do you believe needs to be adjusted here to make this work properly?
So first, let's deal with the money management part. The state and the governor must deal with the finances of the MTA. That's their job. I have 99 problems, and I have to deal with what's in my portfolio. I always joke about the guy that stopped me on the street and say, I'm getting a divorce, it's your fault, Eric. When people get angry, it's the mayor. Let them, when they do their off topics, ask them that question. Find out from them how they're managing, how they're overseeing, what are they doing with the budgeting of the MTA. I have to budget this city and this agency, and we're doing that, and we've done a darn good job, starting with our PEGs, being able to come up with $7.2 billion in savings so we can deal with the $6.5 billion migrant and asylum seeker crisis. We're managing our budget. Landing our budgets, landing our...
That's not dealing with your budget. You're cutting spending on Americans to deal with the illegal aliens. That's not helping.
Our interaction with the city council. So that's their issue. They need to figure the MTA out, figure out how it's going to be done correctly, and they need to work that through. And that's a question for them. That's
nice. That's awesome, Prola. That sounds interesting.
To speak on.
But they operate in the city. You obviously have to work with them. They're building train stations.
Dude, that sounds awesome. Oh, so Denmark. So that's why former Danish Vikings. So Denmark has a claim to Greenland because Denmark Vikings back in the 1200s or 1000s or the 800s or whenever the heck. When was Eric the Red? 800? I'm guessing here. 950 to 1,000. Okay, I was in within a couple hundred years.
They're moving New Yorkers around. I mean, they are like the infrastructure in the city that like fuels New York.
Yes.
So like you have to have some sort of opinion on whether.
Well, I do have opinion, and remember the capital budget that was put in place was voted down. Why?
So then why is Trump saying that they don't have any like legal right or claim to it, I wonder? Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to address the House and ask unanimous consent to revise and extend my remarks.
Without objection, the gentleman is recognized for 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, yesterday, the House of Representatives met to certify President Trump's electoral victory. Over the past 4 years, President Biden's administration has imposed needless regulations on the American energy industry. It has spurred record high inflation, and it has left our southern border wide open. The election results in November were a message from the American people that they want a new path forward, and that path begins today. It is now time to get to work to secure our border and to lower prices for the American people. Together with the House and with the Senate.
Whoever the heck that guy is. Top Dem shreds House GOP for huddling behind closed doors. To that. An unmitigated disaster. John Cornyn sounds off on Biden administration over border security. I have no idea what he's talking about. Leo responds to Zuckerberg's end to fact-checking on Meta. Wait, what?
Scott, one question for each of you, if you don't mind. Mr. Liu first. Is part of the announcement Mark Zuckerberg made today, he said Meta's going to shift their content moderation teams from California to Texas to be more fair, to eliminate the perception of political bias. So what do you make of him referring to Californians as politically biased and not trustworthy?
I have no idea what he's talking about. But what I do encourage members of the public to do is they can look at trusted sources. So you can either listen to your cousin's friend who posts some random thing about polio vaccines, or you can look at what the American Medical Association has said about polio vaccines, or what your Peter...
Oh my gosh, polio vaccines. Oh my gosh. These people are so bad faith.
Now as a party post-election, we'll find out if they're still clinging to that open border policy and that mantra, and despite the American people roundly rejecting all that in November. We'll see. This will be a telling vote. Also this week, the House will vote to impose sanctions on ICC officials and put the ICC prosecutor Karim Khan back in his place. He does not have jurisdiction over Israel or the United States, and it is outrageous that they're issuing arrest warrants for Prime Minister Netanyahu and Israel's Defense Minister Gallant. The ICC is actually equating Israel and Hamas, even as Hamas still holds Israelis and American hostages. It is just absurd. The House will not tolerate rogue actors who circumvent international law to attack Israel.
That's crazy, riding fence.
We won't do it.
Yeah, I've never actually studied Viking history. It's a subject area like I wish I knew more about. I wonder if there's any like good books about that. That's crazy though. Yeah, you think about, and I agree with 1927 ethos. It's like, okay, that's great and everything, and it's like, self-rule and is great and everything too, and we support that, and we support Denmark's historical legacy with Greenland, and we also support self-rule and everything else, but at the same time, like, we're all allies here, us and Denmark, and us and the people of Greenland, and we all recognize that the U.S. needs to have basically power and control over this part of the world to make sure that there's no Chinese and Russian interference and influence and overtaking of the seas, and to make sure that the U.S. military has bases all around up there, and et cetera, et cetera. That's good for everybody. That's literally good for the people of Greenland. That's good for the people of Denmark. That's the real reason it should happen. Right? Right? Am I right, or 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 am I right? All right, let's see here. Oh, you know what I got to do? Since I'm live on YouTube, what I'm going to do... I'll throw up one of my videos.
We're just gonna wait for a few more people if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do. Thank you for doing it.
That's fine, that's fine.
And then the next thing plays in is a small vehicle bay too. Yep. Or actually, no, maybe we should do a large. You can only get, do the small one because you can't get the quick vehicles with the big one. So just because in the beginning. Radio. Yep, I see it. Thank you.
Right, we can probably go.
Yeah, let's go, brother. Let's go, brother. Do you know where to go, or do you want me to navigate?
You can navigate.
Are you guys on 38?
I'm on 38. I'm on 38.
Can you guys hold up real quick? Actually, we just finished the building. The truck at least. Yeah, thank you.
You want us to wait?
We're gonna jump over this truck.
Keep going north. Keep going north. Keep going north. Keep going straight. Keep going straight. Keep going straight.
Thank you. Where'd the driver go?
Hold on. I'm trying to get the truck to actually move. All right, there we go.
Keep going straight, and then you're gonna come up here and take a right.
Oh, the driver's invisible for me.
This next right?
Next right you have. Take a right. Right here. Take a right, take a right, take a right. All right, now when I say stop, you're gonna need to stop so I can get some shots.
Yep. You have control over me.
Is this convoy on 38? Is that correct?
Correct. Convoy's on 38. Yep.
Bad boy. Thank you.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. No eyes yet, no eyes yet. Stop, 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 stop. Push forward, push forward, push forward, push forward, forward.
Alpha Main to all stations. Additional weapons, ammunition, and supplies have reached Point Virginia. Out.
Did you survive, bro? Did you survive, bro?
Yeah, we got him out.
I got some kills. Oh shit, he just got shot.
I got him.
I do like playing as American. Ooh, look at that. Man, Huey's the best fucking thing ever.
Let it smoke down on you. Thank you.
Give you some of those happy jokes.
Thank you.
There's an RPG too. If you took out this Hummer, so just be aware.
Welcome to Hell, Phantom. I'll be your gunner, Phantom, if you want to drive.
I'm gonna go wide to the right. I got one of them. There's a bunch of them running to those ruins on the left. There's like 2 of them in the ruins on the left.
I'm pushing up the ruins. I'm pushing up now.
Directly ahead of you guys moving up on the left, there's a bunch of them in this ruin.
Oh, you guys just took an RPG. Got one.
Capturing.
I'm out of the Jeep, by the way.
There's still, I think, maybe one in those ruins.
Yeah, there's at least 1 or 2.
Hopefully that frag got him. Nope, never mind.
Is there still? There's still one here. Still one here.
At the inside, the ruins are clear.
Good, Phantom.
Gunfire is coming from the left, if that makes sense.
Alpha Main to all stations. We've taken the combat outpost at Point New York. Out. Alpha Main to all stations. Fuel is now available from Point Virginia. Out.
I own this content, so I can use this content as filler content for my breaks. How's it been, boys? How's it been? How's it been?
Do we still have 2 vehicles? We still have a heavy truck and an FAA Jeep.
Man, this is not very high quality, though.
I'm pulling up to the, I'll jump in the truck in a second.
I thought my stream was higher quality than this. Is my stream really this quality? This is garbage quality. I wonder if when it uploads to YouTube it like gets downgraded or something. Dude, there's so many F words and stuff in this game. Wonder if I should just play games instead of streaming. Politics. What do you guys think? Oh. wait. Hold on. What are you guys saying in chat? Hold on. Is that right? In the 1700s, Denmark reestablished abandoned contact with the Greenlanders and took it over with royal company to trade. Wow. Okay. True. We've had bases in Greenland a long time. American Patriot. Yep. I definitely think China and Russia are going after resources in Greenland, and that's the thing, Prolots. Like, yeah, the United States wants to be all high and mighty and say, oh, we don't want to take over Greenland. It's like, okay, well, when the alternative is that China gets it, it's like, that's a worse alternative than the U.S. taking it over, whatever you may say about how bad that might be. You know what I mean? We are now Lecture Fan. We are now watching Lecture Fan put on and then leave with the clip of Lecture Fan leaving to get a drink. Dude, I'm gonna have to start playing. I'm gonna have to playing clips of my stream where I'm watching myself play clips of my stream where I'm watching myself play clips of my stream where I'm watching. He's streaming when it's just a rerun. I am only sleeping. I'm only sleeping. Cedric, what's up? We need to get Lecture Fan and Greenland flag now? I guess so. Jeez, I guess so. Looks good to me, and yeah, YouTube does that. Oh, okay. Do you have a rerun where you were reacting to yourself? I probably do. Yeah, I probably do. I've reacted to myself a ton, Prolots. Like, I make clips of myself, like, constantly. I'm doing it. I'll do it right now.
Amount of supply. We are so adamant that these areas of the world that are the arteries of trade and shipping remain peaceful.
There is a worry of this Chinese possible infiltration in the country.
In 2017, Greenland
Dude, of course China is infiltrating. China's infiltrating every country. They're evil commies.
Build more airports. Like
Fantastic clip. Fantastic clip. Fantastic clip right there. I mean, I don't know how I'm not getting like millions and millions of views on YouTube, but whoa, check this out.
Top of Enchanted Way. It's coming over the ridge. It's got a couple houses. I see it's coming over Lockman now. Oh man. If you're up here, get out of here, including myself. Oh, there it is. Oh God. Stay calm. Lockman Lane, Enchanted Way, anywhere up in the Marquez Knolls, get out.
Dude, what in the world? We got to get more videos about this.
Futurecast. Also get to the rest of the region in just a second.
Oh, this is live.
You can see south of the Santa Monica Mountains, you see all that purple coloring that's hugging right against the coastline? That's all wind gusts in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range. San Fernando Valley looking at wind gusts in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range around this time as well. So we're likely going to start seeing some trees come down and some more power outages. And you can see that the winds will last all the way into the early morning hours. This is 7 o'clock in the morning, still very gusty out there. It's not until we get into the afternoon and evening hours that the winds finally shut down. So we still have a lot of wind ahead of us over the next couple of hours. Same for the San Gabriel Valley. This is why we're very concerned about that new fire near the Altadena area, because by 9 p.m. we're looking at wind gusts in that area in the 40 to 50 mile per hour range and intensifying. We could potentially be around that 60 mile per hour gust range, especially through some of the upper elevations. And again, we have to wait until we get into the late afternoon hours for Wednesday for these winds to finally start to wrap up across the region. And even then, you can sort of see it on the edge of the map here. This is the IE wind tunnel south of Cajon Pass. It is still very windy well into the afternoon hours, and we might get another little pulse of wind coming our way as we get into the late Thursday night, early Friday time frame. So we are not out of the woods yet with the winds. We are still waiting for them to really intensify.
Christy, thank you. I want to give you a moment to catch your breath, and sometimes it's been helpful to just listen into the picture every once in a while and get a sense of how windy it is. So maybe we can listen to Gino Arias's picture to get a sense of how intense it is out there.
Did you lose IFE?
And you think of that school and all the memories and all the kids and everything else, and how now parents are going to have to explain to these young kids about what happened here. So sad as we're looking at Palisades Charter Elementary School right now in flames. We've also seen the Pali High also in flames.
Is this live?
Let's go ahead and check in with Chelsea Edwards. She's along PCH where she's seen entire mobile home parks go up in flames. Chelsea?
And
Dude, this is insane.
It doesn't feel real. It feels extremely surreal being here and watching this. I mean, everywhere you look is on fire. Everything that we can see that is on the land that can burn is burning right now. I mean, from up in the canyons to what you're looking at right now, which is what's left, the rubble that's left from this mobile home park, to structures that are further down PCH, we're not sure what those are, to the public bathrooms on the other side of PCH. So this has jumped PCH and is now on both sides, even though there's not a whole lot left here to burn. It is still burning. It's just remarkable to watch. And, you know, we see that.
Right, Cedric? Wow, Doc Watson.
Heading south on PCH. We've seen that over and over. They're going south. They're coming north. But they've not stopped at any point to help to do any, you know, structural protection for any of these homes. That's some of the frustration from this homeowner we've been talking to. This gentleman, he's standing near me. He's been here for a couple of hours now. He keeps coming and talking a little bit more. He's warming up a little bit, I think, just still completely in shock from watching his home burn down. But he said, you know, they were here. They knew that this fire was coming down. The homeowners were there. They were trying to protect their homes with garden hoses. And there was a fire engine that was there right at the entrance. And he just said they could have done something, but they ran out of water and then they left. They said they'd come back and they didn't. Obviously, those firefighters are working on life-saving efforts.
Man. That's crazy. That's crazy.
Property is secondary, but that's obviously hard to hear for the homeowners who are just watching everything they have and they own go up in flames. The gentleman we've been speaking to said
even the public
he ran
bathrooms.
back in when he knew that it was too late. He knew that his home was on fire and there was nothing that was going to save it. He said he ran in and he grabbed a physical picture of his late mother, and that's the only belonging that he took out of that home as he ran down the hill to get away from those flames. So I mean, you hear stories like this and it just. The impact is so great to these people. I mean, you think about the fear in those people that were in their cars on Sunset Boulevard making that decision to run. You know, that's a true fear, and we see these scenes like this, and I mean, it's just hard to believe. Again, I just feel surreal. It looks like we're on a movie set. Like this is not actually where we're standing in the Pacific Palisades right now. When you look,
Dude, this is just absolutely mind blowing. Like, what in the world?
Yeah, I want to take you here live right now. So this is Pacific Palisades. All of these cars were ditched. So all of the drivers panicked. They took their keys. This is Palisades Drive as well as Sunset Boulevard. This dozer is just moving these vehicles out of the way. So if this is your car, unfortunately, it's an emergency situation, and this is what they have to do. They are moving the cars as we speak. Unfortunately, there are dozens of cars. This looks like a movie set. Unfortunately, this is real. LA County Fire, they have to do what they have to do. They need to clear a path. So literally, they're moving the cars, the SUVs. We're seeing Mercedes, very nice vehicles, Teslas up here, but that's because the car owners, they took their keys and they just started running. They left the cars here as the firefighters were trying to clear the pathway, clear the roadway.
this is an emergency situation where, you know, they need to get up to the homes. They want to make sure people are not trapped up there. But this line of cars probably goes about 300 feet deep, at least as long as I can see from this bird's eye view. So we're kind of staying back. They're in a situation here where they are literally moving these vehicles out of the way. Yes, it is causing damage, as you can hear from the screeching noises, but that is what they have to do.
Massive fires burning tonight.
Wow, that is absolutely insane.
Out of control in Southern California and Los Angeles, a scene being described as apocalyptic. Nick Watt
This is
right
horrible,
now in
man.
Palisades in Los
I feel horrible for these people down there.
Angeles.
Why would you get out of your car? Well, probably because you were stuck. They were stuck. When it was like you either get out of your car and like run and leave, or you stay in your car and I guess sit there and you don't go anywhere. And when the fires come and it's like, no, you're gonna get out and run. Why would you live in LA? I agree, Pro. I agree.
And Nick, talk to me about where you are. That looks right behind you, those fires.
Yeah, so Aaron, we just drove up into the hills of Pacific Palisades, where, as you say, these fires are pretty much out of control. The issue here, the wind, you can see the wind whipping that smoke, and those embers, you see the embers on the air? The wind can take those embers a mile, 2 miles, and they can set another spot fire. That's what they're dealing with. The other issue around here, this is like a hilly community. The roads are very narrow, so when people were told to evacuate, it was very difficult to evacuate. Some people tried and couldn't. There were huge traffic jams. People were abandoning their cars, going on foot. Now, we also saw LA Fire Department bulldozers just moving those cars out the way, pushing them out the way, so engines like this can come in here to try to fight these fires. Now, the other, Chris, look at this. I mean, this house, you know, I was here 6 minutes ago. This house was pristine. Look at it now. These houses behind me have been burning for some time now. So the strange thing about these fires is they're kind of predictable. We knew that this Santa Ana wind event, these hot, whipping, gusting winds were going to be coming. So fire departments were pre-positioned, ready. We knew it was happening. This morning I was down on the beach about 8 a.m. The wind was just beginning to pick up. 10:30, this fire ignited. Now 1,200 plus acres. Aaron?
I mean, the speed.
Wait, what is he talking about? How did they know that there was going to be a fire that got sparked? That makes no sense. What's this, Pro? Yeah, that's pretty much accurate, isn't it? That's pretty much accurate.
The ferocity with which it has spread, Nick, is really hard to comprehend. So talk to me about where you are. You're talking about narrow roads coming up. I mean, has everyone left? I mean, because even the proximity with which you are standing to that fire, I can hear it. It's almost, it's like a fireplace. I can hear it crackling.
Well, listen, this is the great thing about California, and the terrible thing about California is reporters, we are allowed as close to these fires as we feel is safe. So we, of course, have parked up the road facing down, so if we need to get out, we can. But listen, there is danger here. There is no question. These winds are just moving right now, 50-mile-an-hour gusts maybe, and the wind is not at its peak. It is going to peak in the early hours of tomorrow morning. So we are very far from the end of this. This is only going to get worse. There are a few hundred firefighters here now.
My gosh, look at this picture, man. Wildfire prompted emergency officials to order residents in a western LA neighborhood to evacuate their homes Tuesday as forecasters warn a potentially life-threatening windstorm could fuel the fire's rapid spread. The LA Fire Department ordered residents in Pacific Palisades to leave the area immediately as firefighters sought to slow the spread of a more than 1,200 acre blaze. 30,000 people are under evacuation orders. No injuries have been reported. The fire was reported at 10:30 a.m. local. At the time, winds were measuring 25 miles an hour with gusts of 50. The wind and surrounding topography made it difficult to fight the blaze. The fire was first reported at approximately 10:30 a.m. local time. People evacuate from the west side of LA. My goodness, dude. The National Weather Service warned of damaging winds forecast for much of LA and Ventura counties Tuesday and Wednesday. Across both counties, forecasters predicted wind gusts of 50 to 80 miles an hour, up to 100 mile an hour into the mountains and foothills. This is about as bad as it gets in terms of fire weather. Images of the fire showed smoke billowing over the Southern California coastline. Officials warned the heavy winds overnight could exacerbate damage from the flames. We're not out of the woods by any stretch of the imagination. Many structures have already been destroyed and urged residents to evacuate. The cause of the fire is under investigation. 0% contained. More than 250 LAPD firefighters were battling the flames. DOT said parts of the PCH were closed. Some schools closed or relocated. Some schools burned. Wow, man. Wow. Dude, this is live, man.
Long Beach are here doing their best, but
this is insane, dude. This is live footage of the fire, dude. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
This is crazy.
So depressing and sad to look at. Ed Lascos, Mike Armijo, thank you for the excellent
This is live footage of the fire.
Long in very, very tough conditions out there as we watch these homes continue to burn. You know, we've been talking about evacuations. We just talked about the fact that Santa Monica now adding evacuations, Eaton Canyon adding evacuations. Governor Newsom is in town tonight because he was supposed to meet with President Biden out in Thermal for a national monument. That had to be canceled. President Biden's stuck here in Southern California tonight. Governor Newsom ended up going to the press conference earlier today in Santa Monica, and he talked about the need to follow when it comes to those mandatory evacuations. Let's listen.
By no stretch of the imagination are we out of the woods. You heard the chief say 10 p.m. tonight to 5 a.m. tomorrow will be peak winds. And having just quite literally an hour or so ago gone up the canyon and saw firsthand the impact of these swirling winds and the embers and the number of structures that are destroyed, not a few, many structures already destroyed, and the fact that people were still not evacuated, still did not heed the warning, we're just coming down the canyon, is a reminder of how serious this moment is and how important it is you listen to these evacuation orders.
Well, he also declared a state of emergency as it relates to this, and he did reach out to President Biden. Alex may have just mentioned that, and to get FEMA involved and help get more federal dollars.
I can't believe that this is live footage of the fire burning down buildings and stuff. This is insane.
A lot of money on helping to fight this fire.
Okay, so let's talk about the evacuation centers that are so precious to so many people. I know a lot of people, you know, had fled to Santa Monica, but now north of San Vicente, all of those areas are under a mandatory evacuation. If you need an evacuation center, the closest one to the Pacific Palisades would be the Westwood Recreation Center. It's at 1350 South Sepulveda Boulevard. This is right between Wilshire and Ohio. This is where American Red Cross is also set up. They are accepting small animals there as well. Another evacuation.
That's insane, man. All right, guys, I got to call it. I'm wiped out. I'm tired. Thank you guys for being here. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. I sure did. Thank you guys so much for chatting, hanging out with me.